Moulton driving coming home last night.
Nice.
You know when you're driving like 78, 79, you decide to follow somebody or go a little faster because you get out of traffic, and then all of a sudden you're going 87 for 40 miles.
There you go.
And you look down. I was talking to Jake the whole ride home on Bluetooth, so I'm like, whoa, I'm going 87 here. I might need to dial back a little bit.
I was just following the two cars in front of us leaving Auburn. One of them was a CBS vehicle. One of them was somebody else. And after about a half an hour, Gary goes, "How fast are we going?" I go, 91. Greatest escape ever, just in terms of a combination of how quickly they got us out, how many times we went down the wrong side of the road. Okay, I mean, we're like, wow, this is up there with LSU now.
After a loss, too.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. We were at the Atlanta airport at 8:30. Mark, been doing this 18 years, escapes from Auburn. Never been to the airport before 9 o'clock, 8:30. Okay. This is like the new baseball time rules. Any fan says they hate the new college football clock, I'd fight them to my death.
Everybody does.
I know.
I don't know anybody that likes it.
Uh-huh. You know who likes it? The TV networks, because the games are taking about 3:10 to 3:15.
Yeah, it's funny. Early in the season that they were still longer as it was getting worked out, and they have dropped significantly, haven't they?
Well, each team's losing a possession, sometimes two. Okay, teams were having 12 to 13 possessions, and now they're having 11-ish. So that's how many plays you're losing. Well, Roger, I'll be there Sunday. Mid-morning.
Oh, you got Vegas?
Vegas.
Where do you stay?
Don't know. Got to look that up.
Oh, that's right. These are new networks.
Mark, I'm in Lower Manhattan. They went around the room at the production meeting. Everybody okay with the hotel? And I go, it's in New York City, And the person who booked it goes, yeah. And I go, the game's in Jersey.
Ah, you're charming.
It's what everybody in the room was saying. Nobody had the uts to. I'll say it. Because, Mark, remember, who do I work for?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. I don't work for the 4-letter network. My 4-letter network is TROY. So us three spotters, we can get away with saying some things.
David, how long was the drive back to the hotel?
58 minutes.
50!
And believe me, I was amazed we got back in an hour.
Oh. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Fortunately, the Holland Tunnel was, even though they were doing construction on it, and it was closed one way. It wasn't bad. Yeah. It could have been. Whew.
Yeah, I think I went to bed at 11 at 24-3. I said that's the interception there. That's 17-3, was it?
That made it 24. It was
the
interception made it 24. It made it 21-3 because it was 14-3.
That was it for me. Or I don't know if they scored on that. Yeah. Anyhow, I stayed up for a while. I watched more of that than I needed to.
And it was such good football.
I ended up having a movie night.
Good.
Yeah, I know, right?
But I wish midway through we could have had a movie night.
30 seconds.
I'm pretty sure my mom turned the game off. That's when you know it's a bad game.
The pick six, Eli and Peyton were both so upset.
Well, they did this.
Double Cobra.
Yep.
And then a good 10 seconds of not talking.
That's good television right there.
That's great.
10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. It is a great day. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. And, well, if you need to be told why it's a great day, well, then we just have a difference of opinion. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Good morning. I am doing terrifically, David. Doing absolutely fantastic this morning. Fired up to be back. It was a strenuous day yesterday, and everything worked out very well. So
Great.
So just a good day. But I've got to share one story from yesterday because I was with my mother. My mother had a scare, and my mother is a cancer survivor. She had bladder cancer, had her bladder removed 10 years ago, and has lived a very healthy life since. And she goes for her routine scans, as you well know, David, and she had a spot on her lung. And fortunately, it doesn't appear that it's cancer, and everything worked out great yesterday. But David, as you well know, when you're in the hospital for any surgery, they go through the rigmarole of asking you your name and your birth date 617 times. And my mother, 79 years old, has a sense of humor.
Yes,
and
she
after
does.
about the third one, they said, look down at your wrist and say your name. And her name is Jacqueline. And she says, John Schaefer, what kind of surgery do you guys think you're having here today? Nearly hit the floor with that one.
I wish I could understand that.
That's good material right
It's
there.
solid.
That is solid. It's taking the right attitude into the day's proceedings.
So long day yesterday, but a good day. Happy to be back. Really, really happy to be back. And I'm probably a good thing that I was gone yesterday because I think my anger was still flowing. I did not realize what a big Ryder Cup fan that I am. And it's both on the road at home, but you know how much I love my early morning sports. And Saturday morning, I was up at 4 a.m.
Wait, whoa. Hold on. This is after you got up at 2:30 a.m. on Friday to watch them get beat 6.5, 1.5, and swept for a spit in the first, alternate shot. So you did it again?
3:45 by habit. I woke up and I grabbed my phone and I looked to see what time it is. And I said, let's go. Let's get in this. Let's get the coffee going. Time to watch some Ryder Cup.
Wow, man. Now, when you skipped out of bed down the hallway, okay, to the kitchen, all right, were you thinking, okay, big comeback, here it comes, we're getting back in this thing? Because it sounds like you were.
I was. I had worked myself up into, let's see, come on, let's go. We've got to be better than this. And by we, I mean the United States of America. It's one of the few times that I will go we.
Right. Michigan State and the United States.
Yeah.
Right. The two big we's.
And the occasional Red Wing. If the Red Wings get good again, I may slide a we in here and there, David, but that remains to be seen. But yes, we. And there I am, Dog and I on the couch, pretty excited about watching some Ryder Cup. And he was more excited than I was because we were getting drummed early Saturday morning too.
Uh-huh. You know why, Mark? Because the U.S. Ryder Cup team was where? On the road.
They were on the road.
Yes. Okay, we are going to have to amend our theory. We said there's only one home field court ice advantage left in sports, and it was in college basketball. No, it also exists when Europe is hosting the Ryder Cup.
Does it ever? Then we had Caddygate at the end of it. I mean, it was
Which
sensational.
I'm sure you had to love that because of your angst towards Rory. So Rory gets beat. The only time he got beat all weekend. All right. In which Patrick Cantlay, quite frankly, played the best hour of golf of his career. And totally, he's still looking for major number one, but he played like a major champion there for an hour to steal victory from the jaws of defeat in the Ryder Cup. And Rory all upset, yelling at caddies. Yeah. So you weren't one of those loons that actually thought the U.S. had a chance going into Sunday, did you?
No, but I got up Sunday and watched again.
Wow.
Now, I mean, it started a little later Sunday. I woke up at 4:30 and went, oh, I don't have to get up this early. I can go back to bed. But I was up by 6 watching.
Man.
That's me with FIBA World Cup level of dedication right there.
Really? That is true. I did not realize. You did not realize.
No, I didn't realize either. And as I'm watching Sunday, I found myself trying to find the path. And there were moments in which it looked as if they could at least make this interesting. I don't know if there was ever a point. I don't think there was ever a point in which I went, I'll be damned, they have a shot here. But there was a couple of times that I went,
and get real close.
They can really make this interesting here.
Did you have a problem with Ricky?
Not at all. I had a problem with Ricky's first shot into the water.
Yeah.
When you can't go right, the one place you can't go is right.
And where'd he go?
He went right.
Mm-hmm.
I was stunned at the announcers making such a big deal. I mean, I don't know how many times we got into the Nicholas Jacklin Award over the course of the 2.5 days prior to that, and the concession and the great sportsmanship and the whole history of the Ryder Cup. And yet when someone gives a putt that's of the same distance, they lost their mind. I mean, they lost their mind. I can't believe he did that. Well, so you're no longer a sportsman? Come on. I mean, all of them. Zinger, Hicks, all of them. No one even brought up the concession at that point. It was a perfect time. You've only been talking about it for 2.5 days. I mean, what did you need? Derek Jeter to come in and pitch you out of a jam here? Because we'd only seen that ad 6,474 times. Well, Derek made it home to his family, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. He made it home to his family. And whatever, it was a wolf or a coyote that he didn't hit. I mean, spectacular.
Well, I sure hope that the PGA of America and NBC, made enough money from this little shindig. Because that's also one of the big storylines that's coming out of this is, was the U.S. team upset because they're not getting paid for this? Each golfer gets, I guess, $200,000, but it has to go to the charity of their choosing. So, they're basically donating their time. Then the PGA of America and even the PGA Tour gets 20% of the proceedings, and then that money gets spread out amongst all the members. And so apparently it's a big to-do. So Xander Schauffele's dad said that his son was nearly kicked off the team because his son wouldn't sign the player agreement that they passed out at first. And they basically said, you'd sign it by the weekend or you're off the team. This was like 4 weeks before the tournament. And so he ended up having to sign the agreement. But so,
Was this
once
Randall
again,
Pink Floyd from Dazed and Confused having to sign his player agreement so he could get through the summer? Holy cow.
So we'll see if in 2 years, because it's not like the PGA of America is not going to make any money jamming 40,000 people a day at Bethpage. Oh, Not with those prices they're going to charge either. But hey, listen, I'll sit here and talk about the Ryder Cup all day if I don't have to talk about Monday Night Football.
Well, it's good to know that the Giants season is over.
Yes, it is.
Through 4 games.
Yep.
Nice,
Yep.
a great year a year ago, a disappointing year this year.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, as a Giants fan, David, you can just watch the NFL for the rest of the year now.
Which by my, I'm now 57 years old and what have you. And besides, they've been very good to me. The one team in my fandom that doesn't owe me a thing. So I'm fine with whatever they do. They won the last game of the year 4 times. I'm good. But, Mark, there's losing. And then there's just playing badly. You look bad. You're embarrassing. And you don't want your team to be embarrassing. They're embarrassingly bad. And it's like, oh, man, I don't even want to see this. It's so bad. And I felt badly that, about 15 million people sat down last night hoping to see a decent football game. And I mean, it was bad. It was bad football. Unless you're the Seahawks defensive coordinator, at which point you're like, this is my resume tape right here. Everybody got my name and number?
I think a lot of DCs can make resume tapes by playing the New York Giants this year, David. With that offensive line, with no Barkley and no real receiver to begin with. I mean, before the year started, you looked at the receivers and went, well, there's not much there. And you lose the running back. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and the offensive line. You and I have been advocates for a larger roster for a long time. I don't even know if a larger roster helps the way some of these offensive lines are dismantled so early in the season.
But I will say, for as badly, as embarrassingly as the Giants' makeshift offensive line played, Seattle started the game without both their starting tackles, and by the end of the first quarter had both of their guards out with injury. So essentially down to linemen 6, 7, 8, and 9. The Seattle Seahawks managed to, with coaching and execution, actually put through a makeshift performance offensively. It's funny how one side, who had just as many, if not more, injuries on their line, still looked like an NFL team, and the other team didn't. Why is that? So needless to say, and the Mets and Yankees seasons are over, and the Giants Jets are both 1-3. I mean, morale in the New York metropolitan area today, Mark, is fantastic.
Well, the morale here is much better than it is in NYC. We have got a terrific show lined up for you. David Samson, Pat Kirwan on the show today. The starting 5 in a mere 25 minutes right here. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, I was confused. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
Johnny, you once again, you didn't listen. I said a representative offense. That's all. Without 4 starters, they gave up what? 1 or 2 sacks. They didn't have a bunch of penalties. All right. Yeah, they didn't do much offensively, but they weren't an embarrassment. Okay, that's all. I mean, without 4 starters on the offensive line. I mean, how many teams in the league could have looked as average as they did offensively without 4 starters on the offensive line? Yeah, of course, the 11 sacks and the 2 turnovers. And basically, they had 2 defensive touchdowns. I mean, the 1 sack and forced fumble, this drive started on the 7, and the other was a pick 6. You know, I mean, the first team offense basically didn't have a touchdown because the backup came in there and let them on their only touchdown drive. Which, once again, just shows that's really good coaching. That was a professional team last night. That quarterback had not taken a snap in an NFL game since December of 2021.
Is it because they're so much better coached defensively that they're bringing? I mean, is Seattle's defense that much? No, I'm asking, David. You were there. I
also think they're better coached offensively. I mean, quite frankly, the Giants had more starting offensive linemen on the field than Seattle did. And as Troy pointed out, no team has spent more draft resources and free agent money combined on their offensive line in the last 3-4 years than the Giants. And that's how the line looks? Either you got it entirely wrong with your players or your coaching's horrible. And maybe it's both. But it was just bad football. Man. Just a bad product. All the penalties. Giants had 6 special teams penalties. 6! Yeah, Russ Francis in his heyday, late 70s there, Russ Francis was one of those tight ends you were like, what are we going to do with this guy?
All right, we need a poll question.
Okay. Want to do it about Rays Marlins baseball playoffs? Do you want to do it Taylor Swift? Are you annoyed with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift? Okay. You will in one more week, or you're all in? Because I'm all in.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm not going against the Swifties. What do you think? I'm crazy?
So are you really all in, or are you just intimidated?
Both.
Okay, we'll save this for the air.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark back in the house this morning as week 4 of the NFL has been put to bed. Week 5 of college football was put to bed over the weekend. The baseball playoffs get underway later today. Hello. So morale is high on the show. High, I tell you. Does the shape up continue, though, Mark? Are you ready by 6:30 to have a poll question?
At this moment in time, I am not ready, but I feel confident that we will be ready in the next 8 minutes.
Can I make a recommendation? Because let's face it, when we do a poll question, we're looking for votes. We're looking for clicks. We're looking for people to be engaged with the show.
Yeah, we're not here for wins. We're here for clicks.
Correct. Mark, how about if we come up with something having to do with Taylor Swift?
Probably should be the question every damn day.
Because did you see the Sunday Night Football ratings?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She just shows up.
That's it.
At a game, and the ratings go up 20+% minimum.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're called the Swifties. See, it's a whole new demographic that the NFL doesn't get. In fact, that demographic usually makes fun of people who are obsessed with the NFL. Why don't you get a life? Why don't we go out and do something? Right. Now, we got to watch. She's dating one of the Chiefs. Oh, look at her. Doesn't she look great? Her Daisy Dukes. Ooh, I love that lipstick. That is fire engine red right there. Yes. So that's my recommendation. We work Taylor and Travis.
KW may have it right there in the Twitch chat room. Has Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce already jumped the shark?
No. For goodness sakes. They've been dating 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, but to the football fan, it could be highly annoying.
Really?
It's not. Hey, David, I'm not annoying. I'm merely pointing out what I think others are trying to say by this.
Okay.
I am scared to death of the Swifties, and I'm a nobody. That's the last thing I need is a bunch of 12 to 17-year-old girls mad at me. No, thank you.
I will say the Swifties do go into the mid-20s, late 20s. I mean, it's very much a 12 to, you could extend it to 34. You know, that 18 to 34 demo, we could probably make this 12 to 34 because she's 33. Okay, so you could see where she would also appeal to women
she's
of
been
her
at
age.
it since she was 17. She's been popular since she was 17. So, yeah, absolutely.
So, but I mean, when you think the NFL, you think 12 to 34-year-old women. Absolutely. So imagine if all of a sudden that demographic starts showing up to take in your product. Okay. I mean, I'm waiting for the NFL to just start flying her into, random games. Listen, everybody knows you're dating a chief, but how about you take in, how about if Amazon can just fly you into our nation's capital Thursday night for the Bears and the Commanders? What do you say? You could leave at halftime.
Hell, you don't even have to go. Could we just put a rumor that you're going to come to the game?
Right.
Ratings will go up by 5 to 7% just with the rumor that you might be there.
Can we use your name, image, and likeness and put a cardboard cutout of you in the owner's suite? Would that be okay, ma'am?
And here's
Right.
Rob Manford trying to get him to break up for her to date any baseball player on the planet.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Oh, my goodness, yes. Here is the one question I want people to answer truthfully, if you can, because now it's 36 hours later. When it was 17-0 Chiefs, late first quarter, and you were watching Sunday Night Football, and we're getting near 9 o'clock now. When the thought was NBC could show and talk about Zach Wilson and the Jets or Taylor Swift, what were you hoping that NBC would show and talk about? You were hoping they would show and talk about Taylor Swift. I'm willing to guess late first quarter when it was 17-0 and the Jets were going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And he was looking like a train wreck again. That you were like, well, please, anything but Zach Wilson and the Jets. Okay, you could start playing her songs even if you need to. Tirico and Collinsworth could be quiet. How about if we just play a song? That's all I'm saying. That at around 9 o'clock Sunday night, you were all in on Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, and the Chiefs. And it was only when the Jets got their head out of their you-know-what did maybe you start to say, okay, enough already. Back to the game.
I think that sounds reasonably accurate.
That's where I'm willing to bet.
Because every once in a while, I don't think you want it every game, but you might have had the wife come sit next to you for part of the game and enjoy it with you. You might have actually turned this into more than a football game.
Maybe into some snuggle time. Who knows? Maybe into make it happen night. I mean, who knows what's possible with the power of Taylor Swift?
Look what happened to Joe Burrow. All he said that he doesn't like her. Their season's over with.
Right. And physically, he's a wreck. Mm-hmm. So, and that's why Mark Miller, for those of you that may not have been there when we did our season-long predictions, and Mark, you picked who to win the Super Bowl?
The Cincinnati Bengals, David.
And your number one reason why?
He had the guts to take on the Swifties.
Right. And now
I was an idiot.
Now here we are a month later. And Mark, how do you feel about the Swifties?
I'm scared to death of them. They took down a high-level NFL quarterback with their mind. They didn't even have to do anything. Can you imagine? Because Cincinnati and Kansas City are going to play each other.
Sure.
If she shows up and just looks at him, he may spontaneously combust.
For those in our Twitch chat room who are like, the NFL should have her do halftime. They actually asked her a few months ago, before she started dating an NFL player, the NFL asked her to do halftime. And she said, no, I'm good. I'm good. Remember, do you know what they get paid to perform at halftime? About as much as they get paid to play in the Ryder Cup. And she just had the number one grossing tour of all time.
Right. So much so that they did a movie on the tour.
Right. Translation, not free. So Mark, I nominate. How about we just ask? Okay, are you sick of Taylor and Tyler?
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, Taylor and Travis.
Yes.
Wow.
Once again, I said it yesterday. I see Taylor Swift more than I see my mom or my girlfriend.
That could be a you problem.
Well,
No,
You
it's
you
not.
might need to see your girlfriend a little bit more than that.
No, do you watch TV? Do you look at your phone? Then you see Taylor Swift more than you see your mom.
I'm not in that demo. Trust me. She's not on my phone.
Well, you need to change that. Okay, your life will turn right around.
You're probably right. Need a new algorithm to get my phone in more of a Swifty kind time frame. The starting five is next on Miller and Moulton right here, Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ambient. We have 3 baseball guests today. David Samson, Steve Carney, and the radio voice of the Marlins, Kyle Sielaff. So we will get around to what it is that you want to hear about. And my World Series matchup is the same as it was on March 30th. Braves beating the Rays.
All right. How do you want to word this? Are you tired of the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift coverage during NFL games?
Or have you had enough of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? Yes, comma, enough already. B, no. No. It's fine. It's cute. Whatever. Or no, it's fun. Now you make a good point. Okay, what if she doesn't come with, she finally doesn't show up for a Chiefs game? Where are they? Minneapolis this week?
Yeah, and she's starting her South American leg of the tour here pretty soon.
Yeah. She's spending time with him while she can because he's got a job and so does she.
Got a poll question up. It's got Taylor's. I tell you what, that's something I didn't think I would ever be typing on a poll question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, David, we just lost you again. Already? I'm typing questions. I'm really excited. I'm
Stu, you were talking. I never thought I'd have a Taylor Swift and a poll question. Boom. Thought to myself, why am I being punished? Did you by chance take a look at your picks for this week?
You mean that I went 1-6?
I was telling, yesterday, I guess it was on the show, and I was saying, Mark will never, ever pick more than 5 games ever again. Because the first time he does, he derails the run that he won.
LSU up 9 in the fourth quarter. They blow it. USC had that covered 6 times, but decided they don't want to.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Hell of a show lined up for you today. David Samson at the top of the hour. Steve Carney, 1 hour from now. He covers the Rays among his many media responsibilities. They begin their playoff run today. Pat Kirwan, little more than an hour. Week 4 of the NFL in the books. Talk to Pat about all things associated with the National Football League, and really very curious to get his thoughts on Taylor Swift. And Travis
Oh,
Kelce.
boy.
Okay. Mr. Traditional Meat and Potatoes NFL, and to get his thoughts on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Kyle Sielaff, the radio voice of the Marlins, who begin for just the 4th time ever their playoff run tonight. He will join us 2 hours from now. Does the shape up continue?
You're damn right it does. And I was proud of you guys yesterday. I want to let you know, as spending the entire day at the Moffitt Cancer Center, and everything worked out great for my mother. And that's why I was gone yesterday. But it's a long day in a waiting room at a hospital. As I was sitting through the morning and I saw that you guys had a poll question up, it brought a tear to my eye. I was.
Hey, listen, there was a lot of pressure on us yesterday. All right. We felt it. We're like, listen, A, can't let him down, but also B, hey, come on now. He started the shape up, and just because he's not here one day, we can't suck it up, do our calisthenics and our stretching for one day while he's gone. So, and it was the quick turnaround day for Felipe. He was how I am today, full of adrenaline and fatigue all at the same time.
And by the way, yesterday's question, what was the worst Florida football loss of the weekend? The Gators getting mauled by Kentucky ended up getting nearly half the vote. UCF up 25, losing. Wow.
Yeah, late third, too, up 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Getting 38% of the vote. And the Bills blowing out the Dolphins, getting just 13% of the vote in yesterday's poll question.
Think about how bad the losses were for the Gators and the Knights when you get beat by 4 touchdowns by your rival, and you're like, it's no big deal.
But today, we ask a very simple question.
Yep.
Have you had enough of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce?
Hell no.
Yes, enough already, or no, it's fun.
Yeah. Come on, lighten up, people. I really hope that the answer is no. It will disappoint me.
Early voting should have you excited, David, because nearly 83% of the early voters say no, it's fun.
Well, it's all the
Felipe
Swifties.
hasn't yet voted.
It's all
he
the
is very
Swifties.
against this.
We've got a big Swifties audience, Mark.
That's what I've always thought about our audience.
I've noticed that she scores well with the dads. I think all dads love her.
I don't know about that, but I will say there's a little bit of a phenomenon that happened on this tour, is that men, whether it be fathers, husbands, what have you, ended up going to see this concert. A lot of dads just took their daughters and their friends and what have you, and they needed an adult chaperone. And they experienced the Bill Belichick phenomenon. Remember when it was like, during training camp, and Belichick's talking about toughness, and he stops and he goes, like Taylor Swift last night. You know, she performed for 3 hours in Foxborough. It poured the whole time, and she gutted it out and put on a hell of a show. She's tough. And the whole media room looked around and went, did Bill Belichick just go Taylor Swift?
And for me, who my daughter's too young to be into it, the fact that I'm a music guy. I like music maybe more than I like sports. And I certainly like concerts more than I like, as much as I like any live sporting event. When you go out and do Springsteen-like things and you play 3 hours for the, because we've all seen, if we've gone to concerts, we've all gone to that show where our favorite artist plays for 80 minutes, plays 2 old songs, dumps his entire new album on you and walks out, and you feel like you got ripped off. And she's out playing 3 hours, playing every single one of her hits.
Look, I'm not discrediting her talent. She is extremely talented and deserves all the fame that she has. I'm just saying that there's a lane that we need to respect here. And when Isaiah Pacheco scores a touchdown, I don't want to see her face.
Why?
Because Isaiah Pacheco just scored a touchdown.
Whose face do you want to see? Someone in the stands?
Someone that's not Isaiah Pacheco.
Oh,
we do that. We take fan cutaways 604 times. Do you want to see some other fat guy in a 73 jersey with his face painted? Or do you want to see Taylor Swift? Give me Taylor Swift celebrating.
I want to see a fat Chiefs fan that made the trip wearing an Isaiah Pacheco jersey.
Oh, listen, I know he's from Rutgers and he scored in Jersey, but I'm guessing there weren't many Pacheco jerseys in the crowd.
Find one.
16 minutes before the hour. So that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Go vote. Are you tired of Travis and Taylor?
The starting 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
So I'm driving back from the game last night, and it took an hour after the game to get to Lower Manhattan, where I am this morning. And I realized, Mark, I'm like, oh man, I have to do the starting 5 still. But wait a minute, there's no baseball scores. There's only one football score. I feel like it's the Monday before the All-Star game. It's like I got nothing.
David, today was the first day that I've been able to get up in a long damn time and not have to look at baseball scores.
Whew. There was one score last night. The Seahawks won their 3rd in a row. They humiliated the Giants 24-3. Their defense sacked Daniel Jones 11 times. And the only reason it wasn't more is because Daniel Jones avoided about 5 other sacks with his mobility. The Seattle defense also had a sack and a forced fumble on the 7-yard line, which set up their first touchdown. And they had a pick 6, which put the game away early 4th quarter. Seattle has a bye this week. The Giants, meanwhile, are headed to Miami. Huh, Dot fan? You're 4-1. I know the standings say you're 3-1, but you're 4-1. Congratulations. By the way, we have a hell of a game to look forward to on Thursday. You're like, oh man, 2 days without football. Don't worry, it'll be worth the wait. Bears at Commanders. Thursday night on Amazon. Baseball news. First off, the playoffs get underway today. In fact, you're going to have to watch network television if you want to catch the Rays series. That's right. Your Tampa Bay Rays are hosting the Texas Rangers 3 o'clock on ABC. Think about that. The Rays over General Hospital. Oh,
This is like the good old days. This is like, I think I'm a little kid racing home from school to catch playoff baseball because there was only 3 networks.
yes.
When's the last time ABC's had a baseball game on?
Probably Keith Jackson or Al Michaels. But in all seriousness, thank the writer's strike. That's why the Rays and the Rangers are on ABC at 3. Marlins and Phillies, 8 o'clock on ESPN. By the way, right now, things may change by Thursday if any of these series go to a game 3. But right now, all 4 series are locked in at the same time on the same network for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So Texas, Tampa Bay is 3 o'clock ABC. Marlins, Phillies is 8 o'clock ESPN. Toronto, Minnesota is 4:30 ESPN. Arizona, Milwaukee, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. And right now, that is the planned schedule for Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. We'll see if things change because some series will be sweeps and some will go to a game 3. Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Milwaukee hosting all 3 games. The 3 and the 4 seeds host the 3-game wild card series, best 2 of 3. Angels fired manager Phil Nevin. Padres owner came out and said he loves their manager, Bob Melvin. I don't know what you guys are talking about. He's not going to be back. Basically, I ain't blaming him. So, okay. So you blaming the GM or the players?
And if you're blaming the players, what are you going to do? Because you've got $400 million in payroll locked into these guys and can get rid of basically one of them.
Right. This is what the Padres owner didn't say out loud. Yeah, it sucks not to be in the playoffs, but we sold out every game this year, 41,000. Do the math. Mets introduced David Stearns, who had been running the Brewers and led them to 7 or 8 straight winning seasons and 5 playoff berths, and that's more than they had in their entire history. He's now running the whole show. He fired Buck Showalter even before he officially took the job. That's when you know you've got some power. Get rid of that guy. Well, you're not the boss yet. Get rid of that guy. Okay, boss. Guess what the average time of a Major League Baseball game was this year, Mark? And I'll give you a hint. Last year, the average time was 3 hours and 4 minutes.
246.
How about 240?
Wow.
They took 24 minutes off of a Major League Baseball game. Mark, to give you an idea, the last time Major League Baseball games averaged being played in 2 hours and 40 minutes, 1985. So that's how much the pitch clock was able to turn back time, literally nearly 40 years. And do you know who played the fastest games in Major League Baseball? The Miami Marlins. The Marlins' average game was 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Can I get a signature? How about that?
How about that?
Yeah!
I'll even go a step further, Felipe. The Marlins played winning baseball and the fastest baseball of any team in the majors, and still nobody came. How about that?
Okay, that one was a little unnecessary, but
Well, that one was more accurate.
more accurate, but just uncalled for.
NBA
Uncalled for, maybe.
Just, see, it's not a cheap shot if it's true.
Hey, I drove 2 hours to watch them lose 16-1. Just want to remind everyone.
That is true, Felipe. The one game they lost in like the last 2 weeks of the season was the one that Felipe was all excited to. He's got 1 day off in 3 weeks. He goes to the Marlins game. He texts Mark and I. They're down 12-0 in the second. That's a hell of a half an inning, by the way. Watch your opposing team score 12 runs. So NBA training camps open yesterday, Mark. Here's what you need to know. LeBron says it's now AD's team. He's the franchise player.
Right. And he's one of the great all-time Lakers, is what he said, too, which
right.
It's tough to take him seriously. I know he's a great player. I know he's, maybe one of the 2 best who have ever played the game. But when he speaks into a microphone, he has a hard time realizing what the truth is. his truth and reality are two completely different things sometimes.
He could have stopped at its AD's team. We would have a hard time believing that it's going to be anybody's team that you're on and it's not yours. Okay. But that would have been enough. But okay. Did you catch Jimmy Butler's haircut?
I did. In fact, I was noticing some people in the Twitch chat room wondering if Felipe, when he does his play of the day, has straightened his hair for today's segment. And the answer, unfortunately, is no.
I am so regretful that I cut my hair, because if I hadn't I cut my hair, I would have done the Jimmy.
Wait, is that what we're calling it now? Jimmy Butler's haircut?
No.
The Jimmy?
Emo Jimbo is what it's called.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Emo Jimbo. Emo Jimmy.
Okay. James Harden was a no-show at 76ers camp, so that saga continues. And finally, the Ryder Cup fallout. Xander Schauffele was nearly removed from the team over a contract dispute. That, according to his dad, who told the London Times that the golfer wanted to make 3 amendments to the player participation and benefit agreement. But the PGA of America said, yeah, sign the contract or we're going to kick you off the team. All righty then. All for country, right? And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
What's our poll question again? Are you tired of Taylor and Travis?
That's basically it. Yes, enough already, or no, it's fun. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, our FL Sports Network on X to vote. Thanks for listening to the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps. Have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And it was windy too. There
Yeah.
was no breeze.
Oh, yeah. Nice, cool morning. Telling Trent it was a nice, cool morning. I think it was, only around 70 this morning. It really, it was a nice fall morning this morning, just so you know what.
Nice fall morning. I love it. It's 59 right now in Lower Manhattan.
It was apparently 85 in Michigan yesterday because I was texting with a buddy of mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I just noticed this chair is a glove.
You're just noticing that.
I'm just noticing that.
So with him sitting in it, you never realized what he was sitting in. That's fantastic. How quickly can you lay the 10.5 with the Dolphins?
You better do it quickly. I think
because it could get up to 14.
Whoa!
Hey, South Beach.
Swaggy David P. Samson.
I've got nothing coming out.
Now I do.
There you go.
How you doing?
Doing good. Look at you.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Just getting back from a night out?
I wish. I have been up since 3 o'clock working on my show this morning because I got to figure out how properly to deal with the Trevor Bauer video. And I'm going back and forth for hours. Contrition. I've been so vehemently opposed to everything related to him. I don't think I'm going to change my mind, though.
You can stay away from it, or is it going to be?
Oh, no, I'm not going to stay away from it. I just don't. His video was compelling to people who don't know the difference. But the fact is, MLB investigated. And if they had nothing, the union would not have agreed. The arbitrator would not have agreed. And part of his video was just misleading. But he's getting a ton of sympathy online.
Yes, he is.
And that is a problem. Anyway, so I was just dealing with that for a few hours. So no, I was not out. I wish I had been.
So how far away from you am I right now? I'm in Lower Manhattan.
I am in Sag Harbor, so you're about 2.5 hours away. I will be in Lower Manhattan tomorrow in studio doing the John Skipper podcast that I do with him.
Gotcha.
You guys doing okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Doing great.
Yeah.
Good. Let's do a show today.
All right.
How about it?
Might as well.
Well, I mean, you got dressed up for us and everything, so.
I just noticed that your chair is a glove. I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
David.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's what we've been working with for the last 2 years.
OMG.
Right. Thank you.
I think you should have kept that to yourself.
All right, you know what?
David, your raised eyebrows there before you started talking is
everything I needed.
Yes.
I feel like Chris Cody right now.
He just went, what you talking about, Willis? Just with those eyebrows.
It's funny. You guys are funny.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Tuesdays at 7 o'clock means it's time for David Samson. He of the Daily Nothing Personal with David Samson podcast, which he records live at 8 a.m. every weekday. You can follow David on Twix, Twitter/X, at David, the letter P. Samson, David P. Samson. We have urged you for a long time to take in Miller and Moulton on our Twitch.tv channel, and you should do so in the next 12 minutes just to see David Samson sport coat. Mark, What casino and how many shows is he performing in Vegas this week?
Oh, there's no doubt that he's a lounge act in one of the casinos right now, an opening act, maybe. Probably a little bit of a song and dance type number at the Sands that you're going to catch at 5 o'clock for the dinner show.
I appreciate the jealousy, however you are manifesting it as contempt.
No!
And that's okay. But it was part of the rotation, and it was up next, and that's why it happens to be a Tuesday. So it's your lucky day.
Are you kidding me? I live in Florida. That jacket is perfect. There is not one knock at all. I'm jealous.
Oh, you could carry this.
David,
I'd wear that all day long. That thing's fantastic.
Totally. I'm flying back to the Sunshine State, and I would love to walk into a restaurant at 3:40 ready for dinner in that jacket. Absolutely.
In the all-you-can-eat buffet for $4.99.
That's it. All right. I worked in minor pro hockey for a lot of years, and when the playoffs started, it was tough to get excited because there's a lot of rounds in the playoffs, and usually if you won your first round, that's when you started thinking of more grandiose things. I'm curious, with the baseball playoffs starting and you running a team, what were your expectations when you made the playoffs? What was it like day one of the playoffs?
Well, we went right to the division series in 2003. There was no wild card because there was only one wild card team back then. Now with the expanded playoffs, we have this amazing 3-game sprint where all 3 games are in the same ballpark, and it's the best 2 out of 3 just to get to the division series. So there's a big advantage to the teams who did not get a bye. And that sounds crazy. If you're Atlanta, if you're the Orioles, the Dodgers, you're thinking, this is amazing. I get 5 days off. Baseball players don't like that. They are very much routined. So the teams that come out of the wild card round sometimes have an advantage in the next round. It depends on pitching and how deep your pitching staff is. But for me, going into game 1 in San Francisco, I'll never forget walking on the field, knowing that we had to get 1 out of 2. And I wanted game 1. And when we lost game 1, I was not despondent, even though it was a 5-game series, because I knew our job was to get 1 out of 2. For the road teams starting today, their job's tougher. They have to get 2 out of 3 right out of the chute. So it's going to be an interesting series. A lot of great matchups start today.
I think, though, that for the Marlins, their best shot is a best of 3 because at this stage of their season, David, I don't know if they have more than 3 starting pitchers they really want to send out there.
Well, I can tell you that there's a lot of teams who send out a TBA, and that is the state of pitching right now. When you look at the depth of rotations of the 12 remaining teams, I'm not sure. The Brewers just had Woodruff. He's out for the playoffs, and they, to me, have the best rotation, but now it's cut short. The Marlins clearly have injuries. The Rays, who can even talk about? I mean, I love Glasnow, I love Eflin, but they've got 29 guys on Tommy John, so their rotation's hurting. The Orioles never had a decent rotation. The Dodgers guys are either suspended or hurt, so I could go on. And the Braves have not been that effective, believe it or not, their starting rotation. So there's big concerns for everybody. To me, it's not about the previous 162 games. It is about everybody is 0-0 right now, and anyone can win 13 games. The people who start today have to win 13. Anyone can do it.
You know, you mentioned the Rays. The Rangers are as banged up with their pitching staff as well. This is, I don't know if you can make the comparison, but it's not like the pitching staffs are like offensive lines in football. There's just not enough depth, and it's a problem.
You know, you mentioned that, and totally off the subject, but while we've got another 30 seconds in this long segment, when you talk about expansion, one of the things that you have to talk about in addition to a money grab for owners, it's what are you doing to the product? It is clear to GMs and presidents there's not enough pitching today because of all the injuries. And if you're adding another 22 to 24 pitchers on 2 different pitching staffs, are there enough pitchers? Of course, there will be guys to throw the ball, but injuries, lack of performance, it's a pretty big deal. And if I'm the Rays right now, I'm looking at my first round series and I'm thinking, I don't have to worry about DeGrom. I don't have to worry about Scherzer. I'm good. I feel really good about our position right now, and I think the Rays are a lock And I'm sorry for all the people in Tampa if that's a fade right there, but I think the Rays are a lock to get past the Rangers. While the Rangers' offense is good, people don't realize how good the Rays' offense is, and I give the Rays pitching the edge.
All right. We'll just go then series by series here. Marlins, Phillies. I think the Phillies have the better pitching matchup, at least on the bump to start each game over 3 games. But how much of a shot you give the Marlins?
So that's the primetime series. The ESPN got together and said, we want them at 8 o'clock. So all 3 games are primetime because this is a closer series than people are saying. If you look at all the prognosticators, they're saying Phillies for sure win 2 out of 3. Couple notes. Marlins won 2 out of 3 in Citizens Bank twice this year already. Nola and Wheeler, the 1-2. They've been good, but not like last year great. Lorenzen, the no-hitter genius, bullpen. The Marlins start with Luzardo tonight, who as a lefty can get to the Philadelphia lineup, and he goes 7 or 8. He has that ability. So this is the game, if you're the Marlins, you've got to get tonight. If you don't, it's going to be quick. If you do, you have a real shot to upset the Phillies.
The Twins should be happy. There's no Yankees in the postseason. I mean, that if anything, the Twins got to go into this one. Hey, at least it's a different look. But Toronto's played pretty darn well down the stretch. That's a great offense.
Toronto's just a better team. And the Twins, here's the problem. How many years can you go and not win a playoff game and you're not the Los Angeles Angels and Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani? The Twins haven't won, I think, in 19 years, and they keep getting swept. Toronto's a better team, but they haven't played as well. So I'm looking to see what happens with Sonny Gray, who is a really good pitcher in the regular season outside of New York. But now the spotlight is on, so I worry about the makeup just a little bit. On the other side, I'm pretty excited to see what these teams can all do because there's a lot of young teams getting a first shot. So I think the Blue Jays will prevail in that series.
I think the Twins absolutely have to win today because of the long playoff drought. And if they win, it erases much of it. And for what it's worth, I'm going to pick the Twins in an upset in that series. And then the series that no one will watch or talk about, Arizona at Milwaukee.
Well, you're talking to a Milwaukee guy, so of course I'm going to watch every inning. And if you want to see great pitching, you want to see Corbin Burns pitch, you want to see the most exciting rookie that I've seen in a long time, Corbin Carroll, you want to see a potential Cy Young winner one of these years in Zach Gallen, it's a pretty cool series. You've just never heard of the people on the Diamondbacks, but they're good. And that's what people say about your team, the Rays. They've never heard of the players, but they're really good. I do think the Brewers prevail. Their pitching's just too deep, and their offense is just a tad bit better.
This has been a pretty damn good year for baseball. Knocked off all the time. I mean, the pitch clock, everything has worked. How does the season continue the momentum into the, I mean, because, you know, obviously it's the best time of year for baseball, and the regular season's been a booming success. How do they keep the momentum going?
This is a big issue because the Mets, the Yankees, the Padres, the Cardinals, the Red Sox are all out. Here's what we need, and it's very simple. We need at least 2 game threes on Thursday, which is win and continue, lose and go home. We need at least 2 of the 4 division series to go the full 5 games. We need 1 of the LCSs to go 7, and we need the World Series to go 6 or 7. What I'm talking about is depth of series. That's how interest is grown when people don't know the teams or the players.
Does baseball need like a Braves Dodgers LCS? Do you think it's important who the teams are or no?
They always root for the larger markets. There's no question about it. They wanted Cubs and Red Sox in 2003 or Cubs and Yankees. They want it. They don't want the Rays. They don't want the Orioles. They don't want the Blue Jays because that doesn't really count south of the border. But having the Braves, who are a national team back from the TBS days, having them in the championship would matter. And the Dodgers, of course, would be terrific as well. So getting them to the LCS is important.
How worried are you about the Braves getting there? Now, we got plenty of time to talk about it, but with their pitching staff the way it is, how worried should people be about the Braves getting to the
Philadelphia
LCS?
upset them last year, and the winner of the Philly Marlins series, it's an all NL East bottom of the bracket. The winner of the Philly Marlins has to play the Braves. I know who Atlanta's rooting for. They're going to root for the Marlins without a doubt. But of course you're worried because the 5 days off actually matter, and how quickly can you rebound and get sharp again in a short series?
Major League Baseball said they're going to enforce the pitch clock just as harshly, if you will, as they did in the regular season. We all know the postseason, more drama, late in games, teams like to slow things down. Do you think was a smart decision by Major League Baseball to say the clock is the clock, suck it up?
Hell yeah. I don't want to watch playoff games till 1:30 in the morning. I want everyone to have an opportunity to see games and see the way baseball is. Remember, you're getting millions of new eyes during the playoffs in October that you don't get during the regular season. So it's important for the people to love what they see, and maybe that will carry over to next year's regular season.
We mentioned that David Samson records his Nothing Personal with David Samson podcast at 8 a.m. live weekdays. We've got about 30 seconds. We know you're going to tackle a very big topic. Give folks a preview.
Well, yesterday, Trevor Bauer released about a 3-minute video because the lawsuit that he filed against the woman he was accused of assaulting was dropped by him, and she countersued. She sued him, he countersued her. All the claims were dropped, and he released a video with evidence, text evidence, that it was not exactly what we all thought. So there's a lot of discussion online that maybe Trevor Bauer, there was a rush to judgment, and I led the pack in terms of that judgment. And I'm going to explain on Nothing Personal why maybe I didn't exactly rush to judgment, and maybe the video that is all over Twitter is a little bit produced and not exactly accurate.
He's David Samson. Nothing Personal with David Samson. He records it live 8 a.m. weekdays. You can see and hear him, CBS Sports HQ and, the Dan Lebertard Show. Follow him on Twix, Twitter, and X at David, the letter P. Samson, David P. Samson. And taking his podcast today, if you never have before, for the jacket, if nothing else.
See you later.
I'd love that jacket. That screams Southwest Florida.
That screams Mater D, walking around the restaurant. Okay, was everything good to your liking?
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It, much like Felipe never realized, and apparently a couple of people in our Twitch chat room never realized it either, that he's sitting in a glove. That's the first time we went straight from David Samson to Todd being the first voice in a Diamond District spot, in which I thought, wow, they actually sound a little similar.
They dress similarly as well.
Exactly.
Because Todd would kill for that coat. And I mean David.
I did text David Samson and I go, for the record, love the jacket. And yes, I am jealous that I don't have one. Okay, because that is the jacket.
That in a 48 stocking would be something.
Totally. Although am I a 48? I'm trying to think what my jacket was for the wedding. I'm trying to think if I was like a 44 or 46. But also, there's just something about having the guts to wear it. The confidence that you exude just by putting it on.
Well, that's one I would love to just show up at Palm Beach, have that one and pull that one out because the Palm Beach people would respect that jacket. I've got to start shopping Naples thrift shops, secondhand stores for jackets like that.
I would love for you and the wife decide you're going to go to the country club for dinner and for you to just show up in that.
I need to start. I would love to go with the sport jacket look. I don't have the bankroll to.
Just the business casual, and then you decide,
no tie. Just wear that, just a jacket, just like what Samson's got going on.
Right.
It's a South Beach look right there.
Absolutely. I'd say a little more Palm Beach than South Beach because Palm Beach is a little hipper. But yeah, it's very much a South Florida look.
But hey, he owns the joint in South Beach.
Yep.
I own the Clevelander.
Definitely more Joe, DC. I could never see that jacket on Troy Aikman. I could see it on Joe Buck.
You could see that jacket on Joe Buck?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about that.
I actually, if the one would do it, the other would do it. Troy would do it if Joe did it. Like, they had no problems wearing the canary yellow ABC Wide World of Sports original Monday Night Football jacket for Halloween last year. But that one's a little more flamboyant.
And iconic.
I think if Joe did it, I think he could talk Troy into doing it. My wife asked who shot the Miami Beach lanai couch with Samson's jacket. You know what, DC? That's a great call. There's a chance, because we have a Monday Night Football doubleheader, although games can be flexed out at this point in the season, December 11th, I believe. And the one game's Tennessee at Miami, and the other game's Packers-Giants. And originally the thought was Joe and Troy was going to do Green Bay and the Giants. Well, considering that everybody will have played 12 games by then. And how many wins do you think the Giants are going to have?
Maybe 2.
Going to say over under 3.5. I'll take the under. And so maybe, just maybe. That's a good point. No, the writer's strike had nothing to do with the doubleheaders. That was negotiated between the network and the NFL. And I know fans don't like it because they feel as if they're missing out.
We're coming back.
But
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for, waking up with us, so to speak, on this Tuesday morning, the first such Tuesday of October. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Folks, we're on a shape up. And we're in week 3, actually. We're at the beginning of week 3 of our shape up. And for Miller and Moulton, that meant getting our act together. And the first thing you can do to get your act together is, you know what? Get a poll question up early in the show. Use it in the show. Be enthusiastic about it. And by the way, do a better job with your poll questions. So we chastised ourselves, looked in the mirror, said, come on, shape up.
Right. That's the shape up. It has nothing to do with cardio or dieting or anything like that, because we failed at that too many times in our life, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'd really be offended if you wanted me to shape up. No. So what's our poll question?
Are you sick of Taylor and Travis? Man, at the end of the day, that's really what it boils down to. Are you sick of it?
No. Come on, lighten up, Felipe. I'm
sick of it.
Unbelievable.
Felipe is in the minority, however. No, it's fun getting 63% of the vote. Yes, enough already. Getting 37% of the vote. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or FL Sports Network on X, or go to floridasportsnetwork.com to vote.
You guys know that she has a movie coming out soon, right?
Yes, I believe a week from Friday.
Right. So this is an amazing marketing move by Taylor Swift, but they won't be together for long.
Well, and you know what?
She's going to make a ton of money because of it. So,
and
she already makes a ton of money. She gave away more money on this tour to her staff than she will ever make because of dating a football player.
Well, she'll make more money off of this to give away to her staff. So congrats to her and her staff, because she is bankrolling.
You're a hater.
Oh,
wow.
I am.
We discovered something today. You are a Taylor Swift hater.
And again, it's no disrespect to her.
No,
talent.
actually, it's
She
complete
is,
disrespect.
No. She is extremely talented, and her shows are incredible. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And it's okay that I cannot be a fan.
So you believe this is total publicity stunt?
Absolutely.
No.
Okay, let's talk about this from a relationship standpoint. They're moving too fast.
They're moving too fast.
They're moving too fast. They're two 33-year-old adults. Give me a break. Okay, number one, here's a publicity stunt, by the way, is them not really dating. They're giving the impression they're dating when they're not. Okay, that's a publicity stunt. That's right out of Hollywood. That's been done for the longest time. You give the impression the guy and the girl are together. Why? Because they want to sell a movie or prop up their image. Tom Cruise and some of the women he's been with. That's Hollywood. Okay. He left her apartment Sunday morning in New York City. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're canoodling. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it. Okay.
And I think that by getting in bed with Travis Kelce, she's getting in bed with the NFL.
She's bigger than the NFL.
Is she bigger than the NFL?
Yes.
Is Taylor Swift bigger than the National Football League?
Based on the fact that television numbers are jumping 25% for her just showing up at a game, that's blown me away. She moves the needle like nobody on this planet.
And that makes her bigger than the entirety of the NFL.
At this moment in time, yes.
I don't know about that. The NFL is the biggest entertainment industry this country has to offer.
Well, I will say they have 32 teams also, and she's one. And I'll say this, Taylor Swift is bigger than any single franchise in the NFL.
Now you pissed off Jerry Jones. You might be right, David, but you upset him with that statement.
Well, I understand.
How about them Cowboys?
But would you rather sleep in one of her homes or in Jera's house? I'll take one of her condos, but that's me.
I don't know. AT&T Stadium is quite the complex.
I will say this, hell of a TV. It's 62 yards. It's a hell of a TV.
Tough to fall asleep with that on, though.
The
light is so much that it is difficult. And I don't know if on that you've got a 30-minute timer to turn it off, because then that's going to wake you up in and of itself.
And then in the one room, you got the big Miller light sign, which never goes out. Very bright. Very bright. You're right. Tough to pull the curtains and make it dark when you go to sleep. It is. But all right, so that's our poll question. Are you tired of Taylor and Travis? Come on, Felipe. They're having a little fun. They're not going to see each other for a couple of months. She's going to go to South America and travel the world and do a tour. Okay, she's literally saying to him, "I'll see you for Christmas."
Can you imagine what her Super Bowl halftime show would rate? I mean, that would probably double the highest Super Bowl.
Hell, right now they're just hoping the Chiefs get in the Super Bowl so she shows up at the damn game.
Please, the Vikings are just trying to get her to go to Minneapolis Sunday. I mean, seriously.
So that's the poll question. Vote accordingly. Felipe, a Swiftie hater.
Yes.
It's not that I'm a Swiftie hater. I'm just not.
You said you're a hater, which, by the way, I can't believe, having seen what has just happened to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, how you would say that out loud. I'm worried for you now. I'm afraid you're going to get hit by a car. A ceiling is going to collapse on you. I can't believe you would say it out loud.
I'm everything David just said times 10. You are in a dangerous position right now.
Wow, I'm about ready to hire security for you. What are you doing?
Time now for the play of the day, but I'm imagining the computer's going to blow up midway through it. But go ahead, Felipe. Give it a shot.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that blew up is the Giants season last night. And it was not pretty. And Daniel Jones proved that with a 99-yard pick six.
Out of his left, shotgun snap, drops back three, line right throw, intercepted. It's picked off on the play, Witherspoon. The 5 on the numbers upfield. The 20, the 30, breaks a tackle. 50, angles to the middle. The 30, the 20, far side 10, 5, foot race, touchdown! Touchdown! It's a Seattle pick six. Devin Witherspoon. The Giant quarterback, Daniel Jones, has thrown a pick six and a return on the play of 97 yards.
The legendary Kevin Harlan of Westwood One on the call. Devin Witherspoon, the 5th overall pick for the Seahawks with the 99-yard pick six, the second 99-yard pick six of the week, because there's another one in that Carolina game that you guys, I'm sure, saw, where Kirk Cousins got laid out perfectly legally, by the way. But crazy week for football, guys, and not a great week for the Giants. Sorry, David.
Oh, it's fine. I'm good with it. When the Seahawks took him 5th, you remember how everybody went, whoa, that's too high for that guy. What are they doing? You know, remember the big fella from Georgia still on the board, and it's like, hey, what are you doing? Maybe they knew what they were doing.
Couple of sacks last night, pick six,
right?
Himself a game.
Yeah. He's saying, this NFL's easier than the Big Ten. Hell. And I was good at Illinois, but I wasn't this good. Damn. So there you have it. Hey, the baseball playoffs are getting underway today and tonight. You want to start talking about it?
Let's do it. Well, we did a little bit with David Samson. Let's do some more of it.
We did. Steve Carney. He'll join us coming up. Talk a little Rays. They're taking on Texas tonight, or actually today, tomorrow, and then, if needed, Thursday. Kyle Sielaff, the voice of the Marlins. He'll join us next hour. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour. Oh, this is a hell of a show. Taylor Swift might even listen to Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It's a hell of a point you make there, DC. We're doing baseball in the 7 o'clock hour, the 8 o'clock hour. We did it in the 6 o'clock hour. But this is different. It's the playoffs.
And both the Rays and Marlins are in them. And in a full season, this is the first time that's ever happened. Only other time was the pandemic year. Now, I will say, so last night during a commercial break, excuse me, so they're running promos and ads on the big screens at MetLife Stadium, and Taylor Swift's movie ad comes on, and the Giant fans start booing. Pretty loudly too, and I'm like, "Oh, look at this little Jets jealousy here." I mean, would you guys be okay if she was at tonight's game? If she was dating, Darren Waller? So, okay, all right. Wow, where did this come from?
Yeah, so literally, as I told you, this thing went on with my mom. Like, basically, they jammed us in here pretty quickly. I mean, we were convinced that it was the Big C again. The speed at which they did it, everything that they said.
Right.
The doc comes in before the surgery, who I've been on the phone, like I was on a conference call with him where the way he was talking, it was cancer.
Right.
5 minutes before they wheel her in. I don't think this is cancer. We should be good. My mother and I looked at one another, both of which, everybody else is all freaking out, prayers and all that stuff. My mom was calm. I was pretty calm. We pretty much knew what was going. I mean, both had a pretty good idea what was going to happen in our heads until he said that. She looked at me. I looked at her and went, where the hell did that come from?
Also wondered if a part of you said, well, then what the hell are we doing here?
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, the Ryder Cup really ruined my weekend, and not from a standpoint of a result. I was up so early, I was tired throughout the day, and it ruined my ability to watch a lot of the other stuff I wanted to watch.
Yeah, it went on for a long time. Oh, you got sucked in.
I put a lot of hours into that tournament. A lot of hours.
NBC show you any golf?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour to talk all things associated with week 4 of the NFL. Our poll question, are you sick of Taylor and Travis already? Swift and Kelsey? Yes or no? Right now, no is winning by like 62%. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com, and vote. Steve Carney, he covers the Rays. He's also co-host of a terrific, podcast, Yards and Stripes, covering Army, Navy, Air Force football. But Rays Insider for St. Pete 9, stpete9.com. Follow Steve on Twitter/X at Steve Carney, Carney. Good morning, Steve. You ready for the playoffs?
I am ready for the playoffs. And to answer your poll question, as maybe I might be the only person on this show that has actually met Taylor Swift. So, I'm certainly not ready for this whole Travis Kelce Taylor Swift thing to end.
All right. I'm not going to bury the lead there. You met Taylor Swift. Do tell.
This was quite a few years ago now. 2006, 2007. I was working at WDAE here in Tampa, and she had come into the building at Gandy Boulevard, which is where we used to have our studios. The program director for our sister country station had a very good relationship with Big Machine, who was Taylor Swift's label at the time, and was saying that this young girl was going to be the next big thing in country music. She was, I think, 17 at the time, and could not have been sweeter. So it was just a wonderful experience to meet her, and I was very excited for her. And every time I see that she's got a new successful album, I'm very happy, because she's just a wonderful person.
All right. Great story. That's cool. Steve Carney, stpete9.com. We'll go to something a lot more boring, the Major League Baseball playoffs now. So it ends up being Texas, which, let's face it, I think we were thinking Houston and or Seattle for most of the last couple weeks, or Toronto. But Texas, your thoughts on how the Rays match up with the Rangers?
I think that this is going to be one of those old-fashioned slugfests. I really do, because I think that right now, as things look, I mean, you look at what the Rays have for their hitting, you look at what the Rangers have for their hitting, it's certainly going to be, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of runs scored in this series. Now, having said that, watch this be like 2-0 games, but and watch the pitching really bear down, especially with Tyler Glasnow and Zach Eflin going in games 1 and 2 for Tampa Bay. Jordan Montgomery, Nathan Eovaldi are scheduled to go in games 1 and 2 for Texas. But I just look at all the hitting matchups that you have here. You can talk about the story of Randy Arozarena and Adolis Garcia, who were roommates in the Cardinals organization after coming over from Cuba. Of course, the Lowe brothers, Josh Lowe and Nathaniel Lowe. I keep calling him Nate because that's what we called him here when he was with the Rays, but he's Nathaniel now, so I have to call him Nathaniel publicly. So, but you've got the Lowe brothers. You've got Jonah Heim, who was once part of the Tampa Bay Rays minor league organization, now one of the best catchers in the league with the Texas Rangers. Of course, the injury situations with the Rays and some of their hitters that may be coming back here to start things. There's so many amazing hitting stories in this series. I think it's going to be really exciting.
Well, Steve, I'm just looking to see if Randy Arozarena can be the World Baseball Classic, that type of guy, because it was a good year, but a breakout playoff is, I think, what Tampa needs out of him. I don't know if you're in agreement with that.
Oh, I laughed when I saw Major League Baseball put out the 10 most exciting hitters for October, and Randy Arozarena's name was not on it, because all that's going to do is motivate him, because there is nobody that loves being on the big stage more than the guy that wears number 56 for the Tampa Bay Rays. I expect him to have a huge series starting with this series with the Rangers. And if that's the case, he's the type of guy that everybody can just jump on his shoulders and keep on going. Even somebody like Yandy Diaz, who I also expect to have another big series after having a huge year winning the batting title for the Rays. I think that Randy can carry everybody on this team to a deep run in the postseason.
He's Steve Carney. He covers all levels of baseball, but focuses on the Rays for stpete9.com, stpete9.com. You can follow him on Twix, Twitter/X, at Steve Carney, Carney. Steve, I will be very disappointed if the Rays don't win this series, because to me, while I would give the edge, if we did the tail of the tape, I would give the edge to the Rangers lineup. I mean, I think over 162 games, the only lineup that was better was Atlanta's. But Steve, to me, even with all the injuries that the Rays have to their pitching is a lot better than Texas's, isn't it?
Yeah, I would certainly think so. Although I would say that probably the two biggest moves made close to the trade deadline were both made by the Rangers to go get Max Scherzer, and of course Scherzer is injured and is not going to play during the postseason, and then also going out and getting Aroldis Chapman from the Kansas City Royals to try and help solidify their bullpen. But I agree with you. I would say that you would have to give a huge check in the box of better pitching staff to the Rays, and that's even without McClanahan, Rasmussen, and Springs. I think that would just put things way over the top when it comes to the pitching, and especially the starting pitching. Because I'm much more confident with Tyler Glasnow and Zach Eflin in the first two games than I would be with Jordan Montgomery and Nathan Eovaldi, who the Rangers are going to set out there.
The one thing I think that's a big part of this, and the Rays had better attendance this year, but they have a great home field advantage. They were 25 games above 500 at home. This should be a huge edge in this series for Tampa.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that that edge during the regular season, for the most part, with the exception of 3 games, came without the upper deck being open. So they've opened the upper deck. There's going to be 30,000 people inside of Tropicana Fields, and it's going to sound. If you guys remember what the 2019 American League Division playoffs sounded like in Tropicana Field, the Trop, for all of its faults, and everybody can talk about the stupid roof and the rings and whatnot. When you put 30,000 people in that building, it sounds like there's 60 or 70,000 people in there, because the noise doesn't go anywhere. It just circulates around and around and around that building, and it gets really, really loud.
Well, there's no doubt, and we go all the way back to being at the playoff games of the World Series for the Rays in 2008, and you're right. It was very festive, and you felt like, man, they have a huge advantage playing their games here. listen, you mentioned the Trop, and obviously we're now in the final 5 years, if you will, of the Trop being the home of the Rays. What's the fallout? We talked to you right after, or actually we talked to you the morning that the deal was going to be announced publicly. Now that it's been announced, now that we've dug deeper on it as to what some of the specifics are going to be, what's the fallout, and is there any of it being negative about the Rays' new stadium deal?
I don't think that you're seeing as much negative fallout for the deal as you may have thought. I think that most people that wanted the ballpark on the Tampa side of the region as opposed to on the St. Petersburg side of the region understand why the team is doing this the way that they are and why they feel that putting a new ballpark in the same place where the old ballpark is kind of makes sense. Plus, most of those Tampa residents also understand that there's going to come a time, probably in the very near future, when the other two owners of professional sports teams in this market are going to start looking for taxpayer money to either help refurbish the arena or stadium that they have already, or start to look at building something new, because both Amalie Arena and Raymond James Stadium are either the same age as the Tampa Bay Rays, or in the case of Amalie Arena, a couple of years older than the Rays. They're not quite as old as the Tropicana Field building itself, but we're talking about teams that are closing in on close to 30 years old. And so you look at how the lifespan of a professional sports venue is now. 30 years is about end of life. And so they're going to start looking at trying to get new arenas, or making significant upgrades to the arenas that they and the sport and the venues that they have. Raymond James Stadium has had a number of upgrades done. Amalie Arena has had a number of upgrades done. There's going to come a point, I think, that both of these ownership groups are going, all right, we got to figure out what's the next step when it comes to these venues, and how are we going to make those changes, and how much are the taxpayers in Tampa and Hillsborough County going to be expected to foot the bill for them?
Steve, a combined question. It'll be the final one. First off, if I had told you at the beginning of the year that the Rays were going to win 99 games, would you have believed it, number one? And then two, would you have believed if I told you they were going to win 99 games that it wasn't going to be good enough to win the East?
I think that, I would have thought that this team could have won 99 or 100 games just by the pitching that they were going to have, because on March 30th, you still had McClanahan, you had Rasmussen, you had Springs, you had Eflin. You were going to get Glasnow back at some point. I certainly think that with that 5-man rotation, there's no doubt that I thought that they could have won 100 games with this team. Now, if you had said that they would have won 100 games and not won the division by a game, I would have been dumbstruck. But that's just a credit to what the Orioles were able to do all year long with that very young team, with a pitching staff that a lot of people don't know anything about, but with maybe the best bullpen, and a guy that, if I had a vote for Cy Young, would get serious consideration for being the Cy Young winner this year, in Felix Bautista, their closer. He may have been the most dominating pitcher I saw all year.
Steve Carney, stpete9.com, stpete9.com. Follow him on Twitter/X at Steve Carney, Carney. Steve, enjoy the playoffs. Safe travels. Hopefully they go on a deep run and we can talk again.
Absolutely. I certainly hope so, David. Thanks.
Steve Carney, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Don't you think the Orioles have a lot of 08 Rays in them?
A ton. Not knowing might be the best thing that the Orioles have going for them. Not knowing what the playoffs are, not knowing what to expect, not having expectations because they didn't have any coming into the year, maybe some internal ones, but certainly to win over 100 games and win the divisions was not what Baltimore thought coming into this year.
No, they thought they'd be better, but that was a big jump. I mean, not as big as where the Rays, who had never had a winning season, and what they did in 2008, and they went all the way to the World Series. But there's a part of me that thinks that the Orioles are the 2008 Rays. And that would not be good for the 2023 Tampa Bay Rays because it means that the Orioles would get to the World Series and not them.
Rays probably the best base running team in the playoffs in the American League. From a stolen base standpoint, it's another little intangible they have going for them in this series to pay attention to.
I'll be very disappointed if the Rays don't win this series. I really will. You would, to me, and I know it's a best of three and anything can happen, but to me, Texas offense, edge. Tampa defense, edge. Tampa pitching, edge. I think it's the biggest edge. I think their pitching advantage over Texas is bigger than Texas's hitting advantage over the Rays.
I would agree with that because I don't think the hitting advantage is that great, although with some of the bats that are on the IL for Tampa, that does impact what's going on.
Yep. Hoping to get
Siri back and
right. And they're not going to have Brandon Lau. So, yep. But the playoffs get underway. 3:00 today. The Rays and the Rangers are 3:00 on ABC. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're 3:00 on network television.
ABC, everyone.
Right.
That will throw you.
Mm-hmm.
A place that playoff baseball hasn't been, at least in my recollection, in quite some time.
Marlins and Phillies, 8:00 on ESPN, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Enough baseball. Pat Kirwan, all things NFL. You know, Taylor and Travis. Next.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, boys.
How are you?
Me, I'm doing great, and always interested listening to your baseball conversations. Oh boy, I love when David poses. If I asked you this at the beginning of the season, would you think that would have happened? I don't know.
Well, you could ask that question of a Giants fan or GM or coach in about 3 months, in which I said, if I had told you at the beginning of the season that you guys were going to go 3-14, what would you have thought?
Yeah, it is. That's why they play the game. I guess that's the answer to that question.
Mm-hmm.
And some minor injuries, and well, someone stuck a pin right in the Miami Dolphins bubble. Oh, wait a second. We know how to hit Tua. We know how to sack him. We know how to whack him around. And guess what happens then?
Yep.
That and their defense, which is suspect and has been. Look, they went out and got Ramsey for a reason. And he was supposed to be covering Diggs, man to man.
Well, I will say, though, Pat, why did Vic not put X on Diggs? Why did he let him just school the rookie? I mean, he never once put Howard on him. Why?
Well, okay, so off the air, I'd say, look, I spent all spring and summer hearing, and Jim included, oh, Vic's going to fix this, Vic's going to fix that. I'm like, man, I watched the guy. I like him. I think he's a good coach. But it's all because he did a little bit of a reclamation job at the Bears that he had this reputation. But no, I don't think he's the Wizard of Oz here. So, nope.
Well, he wasn't Sunday. I mean, that seemed
we're going
midway through that butt whooping. It seemed obvious to me. You just put Howard on Diggs.
Yeah. Why would you not have something that's either the best guy or a double on the guy every play of the game? I don't understand why all these get Justin Jefferson. I look and say sometimes that Wilson, even Wilson in New York, just take him away. You can't let the obvious guy who's going to get Allen. How many targets did he have the other day? You got to give up something to get something. But when they're dependent on one guy so much, you got to get him out of there. I don't understand why Mark Andrews and Kelsey aren't doubled every time they're in the red zone, or even from the 30 in. Just double them every time.
I would double Travis Kelsey on every play.
Yeah.
I would bracket him on every
play. Make him beat you another way.
Right. And, when they had Tyreek, they had an answer. They don't have the other answer now.
Nope.
Also, Buffalo takes away Hill, and then look what happened.
Oh, there he is. I was waiting for you, bro.
Oh, my God. What do you want?
I thought you might have taken the week off. Because you know what we had yesterday on the radio? Not one Dolphin caller. And I called every one of them out.
You know what?
Call
your show.
We get the same 5 or 6 Dolphin calls they call every day. And none of them called. And I called every one of them out. I go, you know what? I'm willing to stay an extra hour if you feel like you can call. Nothing.
Hey, we're distracted. The Marlins are in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's it.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the 8 o'clock hour on a Tuesday, and that means Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, which during the season is not just 3 to 7 Monday through Friday. It's also 2 to 5 on Saturdays. And then on Sundays, because he has so much free time, he spends all day at CBS helping them put the NFL Today show together. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, over a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Good morning, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing great, fellas. And you mentioned CBS, so why do I do that job? I've been asked that quite a bit. I like coaching, and it's the last coaching job I'll ever have. But the time it provides me with Sims, which I was with yesterday quite a bit, reviewing things, and then with Coach Cowher, which comes on right after we're done here on Tuesdays, to go along with the Sunday performance, is always fun for me to get into some deep conversations. We're going to have a bunch of them today. I'll ask you the question I asked Phil. Phil, I know I'll give you the number of what. You tell me why, Phil. Why did 13 quarterbacks last weekend complete 70 or more percent of their passes? This is a very unique time. We don't have this. I track this all the time. 13 guys were over 70% completion. And I said, Phil, call me back when you have the answer to that. And there could be multiple answers to it. But I think we should always stay on top of things that look trendy. We'll see if it holds up. And the guys that did it are not the best names. It was like scary a little bit when you see who some of them were. Like, we expect Allen, he was 84%, Prescott 81%, Purdy 95%. But here we go. Justin Fields 80%, Zach Wilson 71.7%, Russell Wilson 75%, Lamar 79%, Mayfield 78%, Howell 70%. So I got to figure it out. Is it the talented receiver? Is it the rules? Whatever it is, that's kind of what we're doing all week, me and those guys.
I'd be curious, Pat, just my first observation is, I would want to see, and I don't know the answer, but I'd want to look at their offensive lines, because as we go through 4 weeks of football, so much is dependent on blocking for those quarterbacks. And if you have a little bit of time, they can do a lot of damage.
That's true. So here's the part, and I'm glad you're into the investigative mindset. So Denver sacks Chicago 4 times, and the guy still completes 80% of his passes. And that was his coming out party. Between him, Zach Wilson, and Howell, 3 guys that were kind of in the, I don't know, I was a little sarcastic yesterday, rise from the dead, but I think it's more like the club selling hope. I don't think anyone believed any of those 3 guys, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, or Sam Howell, were the answer for their team. And they had a performance that put a little hope back into the equation. But some of those guys, to your point, Mark, were sacked a lot. And they still, Tua, 4 sacks. And he made the list. How about Howell, 5 sacks and made the list. So it's just interesting to me. But Phil is a thinker, and he's looking at it all day today. So hopefully by Friday I can give you some insight to that. But we're just going to pay attention to stuff like that.
Daniel Jones completed 79% of his passes last night, to further your stats. 79%, 27 of 34, yet he had 2 interceptions and a fumble, and they didn't score a touchdown. I think, Pat, it's pretty simple. The defenses have decided that the day and age of the Steelers defense of the 70s, the Buddy Ryan Bears, even the Ray Lewis Ravens, and the 4 Hall of Famers on the 2002 Bucks, those days are over. You can't play defense like that in the NFL anymore. So they're going to play an awful lot of bend but don't break and situational defense, in which we're going to try to get you in a couple of 3rd downs, and then we are really going to come after you. And that we're just trying to get our stop. We're not going to try to dominate you. Don't know if we can do that anymore. We're just trying to get our stop and get off the field.
I don't disagree with you, and I'm glad you have an observation that sets me on a trail, because what you just said also tells me, why are the offenses struggling in the red zone? And we talked about this last week. We were talking about Jacksonville. A couple teams just go in the red zone and practice all week in there, because you can get to the red zone, but you can't score. So maybe that's the track we should take. The other subject we're on is and this is a precautionary tale. Last year, 72 quarterbacks started at least one game. 72. So if you're a GM and there's 32 teams, well, 64 quarterbacks is 2 per team. We're over 2 per team on average. And this is right up David's alley. We don't spend any money on the backups. So when the Raiders put O'Connell out there and Thompson Robinson goes out there, they're not 2s. They're 3s at the best. And they go out right away in September when there's an injury. And so here are the numbers right now. 72 last year. And the winning percentage of those guys, 39%. 39%. But backups who started games consumed 26% of the season. So if you're a GM and you're looking at that, you're going, pretty sure there's going to be 26% of the games we're going to have to play the backup. What are we doing here? And David cries for this in April every year. And Mark and I go, well, who are you going to pay? But you got to be paying $5 million to the Andy Daltons of the world.
But do you, Pat? Because San Francisco ended up finding a Brock Purdy. I mean, if it's between the 2 and the 3, it looks as if these teams are saying, I'm going to put the 3 in. I'm going to see if I've got something here, because if I find lightning in a bottle with the 3, I can adjust my roster accordingly.
Well, then, Mark, I'm going to ask you one question. Honestly, the day your mortgage is due, have you ever said to your bride, I'm going down to buy a lotto ticket? Because that's
every Wednesday.
Yeah. How's it going for you?
Terribly, Pat. Terribly.
There's not a Purdy in your life. So here we are now. And we've already had 6 guys have to start, mostly because of injury. And we've had 10 more quarterbacks have to go on the field during a game. That's 16. There's only 32 teams. We were at the end of week 4. And we're already tapping into a resource that they never paid for. Because some of these guys, you just scratch it. Minshew, I love. Dalton is perfect for this job. Hey, how long did Rodgers last before they tapped into their backup? 3 plays.
How long do certain teams stay with their current quarterbacks? And I'm really thinking about Atlanta. If Atlanta had Kirk Cousins, they'd win that division, I believe. And they might win it by 2-3 games. Right now, he's not good enough. I don't know if he'll ever be, but right now he's not good enough. They can't get the ball to Kyle Pitts. Taylor Heineke's the backup. I mean, he took Washington to the playoffs.
And I talk to Ron Rivera about Heineke all the time. He felt about him the way I felt about Minshew. The guy thinks he's a starter. Without reps, he's going to come off the bench, and the first thing that's going to happen is the guys in the huddle believe in him. And then he goes out and he plays competitive football. So Ritter's in that category. Pickett right now is in that category. And Mac Jones might be in that category. How long, to your question, how long do you stick with them?
Well, one, I think Belichick is the problem for Mac Jones. He has nothing. He doesn't. I'm sorry. He has not a single wide receiver who can get open. Okay, He's got a couple of decent tight ends. Bill O'Brien's got nothing to work with there. I think the offensive coordinator is more the problem in Pittsburgh than the quarterback. So Tomlin's got a big decision to make. The quarterback's the problem in Atlanta.
There you go. Well, last piece of stuff I look at on these weeks. So I get a caller who says to me, Mark, hey, you guys make too much of sacks. Then, it's more than sacks. I said, well, I know you've heard that on other networks, but I'm just telling you, sacks are important. Here's the record. If you won the sack battle last weekend, your team was 11 wins and 1 loss. 1 loss. Only team that lost the sack battle was Dallas. Everyone else who won the sack battle won the game.
I watched the Monday night game with the Manning cast last night. I figured I got half the show that's in the booth. I don't need to hear what's going on there. I'll get anything that happened important from that one since David's standing right next to Troy. But one of the things I don't, their shtick with the guest is terrible. But when they're actually just doing football, they both alluded to the fact last night that Daniel Jones, and they just said, hey, he threw the ball on the 99-yard. He threw that ball too quickly. She should have waited a little bit. But when you're getting sacked over and over and over again, the ball is going to come out quickly. It's just human nature. And these are 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks saying that it would affect them. So it's going to affect Daniel Jones.
Absolutely. So there's two responses to pressure that comes like he was under. If you are Lamar, you just take off and run. If you're a pocket passer, and I think, Jones is a pretty decent runner, but if you're a pocket passer, you get rid of the ball super fast, and sometimes you make a big mistake doing it. There's only two reactions to the pressure part of it. Get out of here or get rid of the ball. And I think we see big mistakes from both groups.
Pat, we try to. I mean, the three of us can get a little nooks and crannies together, and we've got about a minute and a half before we have to take our break. But, the Seahawks were without their starting tackles when the game started, and at the end of the first quarter, they were without both guards. They played most of that game with 4 backup linemen. They used 3 tight ends, all right, and they got through the game. How come the Giants and 10 other teams, when they get an injury or two to their offensive line, they just fall apart?
Well, Seattle used to fall apart, right? We've been together a long time. I mean, Russell Wilson was a fire drill every Sunday.
True.
So what did Pete do? He just realized, I'm going to tap into all 10 linemen I keep. It's just the reality, what my experience has been. They're all going to have to play. So he doesn't waste any time. He starts practicing with everybody. It's not just 5 guys getting all the reps for the old harmony. Oh, they work together. They got to. No, he practices like we're all going to get hurt.
And because of that, last night, they were able to get it done and very effective in doing so. In an easy win against the Giants team, just the opposite, who couldn't block for Daniel Jones the entire game, and he was just a mess.
I like talking about Pete. I know him, so we talk almost every day, but his strengths, like some guys really know how to pick linemen. Like I love the names of the linemen in Cleveland, but they're not playing very well right now, and I love their coach. But ask Pete to find a cornerback. How about the 2 kids he's got on corner? Witherspoon. Oh, man. And he's not even as good as Woolen. So those 2 guys, that's what Pete sees and finds.
He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. More with Pat in a moment right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcart.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices informed.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Bum, 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 bum.
How's your co-host holding up with the Bears?
They must love him because he says negative things about them and they don't fire him. So he was he had to rip the decision on the 4th and 1. And he did. And I said, you can get axed for that. And he didn't. I think Eberflus is in more trouble than Jim could be in, but
yeah.
Well, the guy was hired to be their president. Now, I don't know if he's going to have anything to do with the football. The former Big Ten commissioner there, who was basically hired to, engineer the whole new stadium deal. But there could be pressure. He didn't hire the GM or the coach. I mean, if he's got real power, Pat, he could turn to the, owners and just say, we got to clean house.
yeah, knowing the owners a little bit, they're not going to listen to him.
Okay.
They're goofy enough to do it on their own. They know how to screw up this team. They don't need any help.
Well, no, that's true.
And that president,
Yeah, well, listen.
don't even.
Hey, listen. Hey, USC and UCLA joined the Big Ten Conference while he was on vacation in Europe. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, he's done a nice job for himself.
Yeah.
He's moved along quite nicely.
Yes, he has. He has. He's made friends and with influential people, and he's got a tremendous resume. Empty suit, but a tremendous resume.
Yes, nice.
I'm sorry, who's that? I was reading something when you started there.
The former Big Ten commissioner is now president of the Bears.
Yeah,
Kevin Warren.
I got asked about him not too long ago on the air. What do you think of Mr. Warren? I go, he's got a nice tie. Oh yeah, no way.
Chris, you can find us on the ESPN Southwest Florida app.
Yeah, either the iHeart app and search 1070 AM or use the ESPN SWFL app.
And we're working
on it. Desperately,
Chris.
Hopefully something in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think we'll get it resolved in October.
Well, fired up for you guys. It's a big state. You get the whole state. You've done great for yourselves.
Well, we're trying.
Next stop, Georgia. Moving right up the coast.
Next, we got to get to I-95. We got to get more of the, we're working on cementing I-75. We got to bring I-4 and I-95 into play.
Mm-hmm. Well, any way I can help you, let me know.
Well,
probably can't, but I'd love to help you.
Well, contributing what you contribute to the show has helped us greatly. It's brought knowledge, entertainment, credibility to the show. Besides that, Pat, you haven't done a damn thing.
Well, first off, you left off my favorite thing, humor, just straight out, flat out humor.
Well, that's, in the eyes of the beholder, Pat.
Oh, yeah, just because I take most shots at you, you'll say, Mark knows that. He's happy right now. I can see his face.
You're very funny, Pat.
That's what I was looking for, Mark.
You funny guy. You amuse me.
I just said, come on. In my mind, I'm just going to lay this in front of Mark, and I expect the response he gave me. We've been together. I always ask you this. Is it 15 years?
Yeah, at least. It might be 17, 18. I mean, we've been doing this 17 years together.
I look so forward to this.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, which is 3 to 7 weekdays, 2 to 5 on Saturdays. He's part of CBS's NFL Today show. He joins us once again courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West. Dozen locations in between Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. By the way, any talk on your hardcore football show about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, or is that not allowed?
So we were having a conference call at CBS the other day, and they're weighing how many things they should do in regards to Taylor Swift and everything else. So I get, well, Pat, how's it going on your radio show? Which was basically your question, and my answer was nobody's called about her yet. There was dead silence in the room for like 30 seconds.
I love it.
Not one.
Proving that the people at CBS have never spent 4 seconds listening to your show because I knew the answer before the question was asked.
Yeah.
It's as hardcore as NFL football talk gets. All right, Pat, what happened to the Dolphins on Sunday in your estimation?
Oh, I'm so glad you said it. I had flashbacks during the game. First off, everyone's got a problem. We talked about Miami's defense, which I thought was suspect. But I also thought the protection of the quarterback was based on his rhythm passing and getting rid of the ball. And we liked all that. But I'm telling you right now, first thing, here's what happened to me as the game ended. I felt like I was watching the reincarnation of the problems we had. And they were Jim Kelly and Dan Marino. And when you had those guys in your division, you could actually become a good team, but you couldn't get anywhere because of them. And when I watched Josh Allen, who's now 10-2 against Miami with 34 touchdown passes, I just felt like here it is again. This guy, Josh Allen, he's going to have an odd day because he's a risk taker, but he has just convinced me he's going to dominate these guys. And his production says that. At 10-2, and the guy can run. He's almost 600 yards rushing in those 12 games. Do the math on that. He's got these 34 touchdown passes. It's almost 3 a game. And because of him, the defense gets an opportunity to attack a passing game because he can make the other opponent one-dimensional. And that's what happened to us with Marino. I used to say all the time, the best thing we could do is be losing in the fourth quarter and sneak up and try to score right before the game ends. Because if those guys get into the throw mode like Josh Allen did, you got a problem. The last 4 times they played, Josh has thrown for 1,376 yards in 4 games and 12 touchdowns. It's 344 yards. So the problem is Josh Allen. And Miami Miami might beat him down in South Florida, but I just think until Josh Allen retires, Miami's going to have to deal with this guy, and it's another 10 years.
Yes, it is. And so obviously you need to put a defense together accordingly. I mean, in a simple way, Pat, it's good. The problem is huge, but they know what they have to do. They have to cut the head off the snake. Correct. Now, it's a huge head, and it's one of the 3 best, most talented heads of snakes in the league, but they have to set up a defense that can go attack a quarterback or they'll have no chance.
Right. And so now you take the Tom Brady experiment, because things I follow. When Tom Brady was tearing up the AFC East, go back and look at the hirings in Buffalo, the Jets, and Miami. They were almost all defensive head coaches because the owner was going, I just need a guy who can tell me he can slow Brady down. And I think you're going to see people start thinking the same way about these guys. But in the meantime, they got a nice football team. They lost Tre'Davious White. That's a problem. The Villanova kid's down with a shoulder now, so there are going to be problems on the corners. But welcome to the real world, because that's what happened to Miami when they lost Ramsey. And so, but it's this Josh Allen thing. This guy is so able to take over a football game that I think we saw between that and the ability to get after. So name the teams in the AFC that might be able to get after Tua. Cleveland might be able to get after him. And all of a sudden you see where their problems are going to be. Get some pressure on Tua and make that Miami defense beat you.
Well, and that doesn't look like that's going to be an easy task for Miami to pull off right now with the way their defense has played. Again, the two good offenses they've played against, they've not fared very well on that side of the ball. All right, Tampa, a nice win. They go to New Orleans, get the job done. What do you make of the Bucs right now, Pat?
First, I like to give a lot of the first line credit to Todd Bowles. Very he's not perceived as a dynamic coach. He's a very quiet guy. He stands on the sideline, hardly makes a sound. But that guy, people want to play for him. The defense is pretty damn good. And they're playing without their corners. Basically, those two corners that they love didn't even play in a game. So I love Todd, and that's step one. Todd's now on his own. He's not being interfered with by others in the organization. So you're getting a chance to see that. The second part is, I think you guys know how much I like Baker Mayfield. He's never elite, but he's tenacious. He's got some fire to him. And when you're replacing Brady, the last thing you want is a guy who looks and acts like Brady. I think you want a juiced up guy like this kid, and Todd loves him. I told you, the quote of the year was from Bowles to me about Baker. I said it on the year on your show before. If I told him to stick his face in a fan, he'd do it. That was his description of Baker. So those two things are the reasons, and Baker gets the ball to Evans. And as long as Evans is a constant threat, everything else falls into place.
Yeah, it is funny because obviously Tom Brady's the greatest. Brady and Evans, there was a disconnect. Okay, not necessarily year one because Evans was thrilled, hey, I'm going to play on a winner. But by the end of year two and certainly year three, Evans and Brady were not on each other's Christmas card list. And it's funny how happy you can tell Mike Evans is playing with Baker Mayfield.
Well, I think Tom realized he wouldn't say it publicly, but he looked at his offensive line and gave him a C- grade. And that's as soon as he felt that way, you know what he said? I'll be throwing short. I'll work my old slot game. The ball's coming out of my hand. And Mike Evans is a guy who wants to run down the field. So he wasn't going to spend the time waiting for Mike to get down there.
The Jags, did they solve anything in your estimation, or did they just beat a bad football team in London on Sunday?
I love this question because I thought Jacksonville would run away with the division, but all of a sudden, all four of them are 2-2, and they're not separating from the crowd. So I don't think they've solved some of their problems. Again, the red zone stuff, you got a quarterback like this, get in the red zone, score, and they're not scoring enough down there. I think I'm in a wait and see mode with them, Mark. They got to do more, and I expect them to do more, but watch out. The division's crawling right up behind you. Oh, that's right. We're all tied.
By the way, have you changed your opinion about the Texans or Colts, or do you think that, hey, it's early in the NFL and like you're the guy who told us, hey, you take the first 4 weeks and then you start to make some conclusions?
Yeah. Well, I thought Lawrence was going to run away with the division as the best quarterback. The kid out in Houston can't deny what's going on here. He's 300 yards a game. And the kid in Indianapolis is the reincarnation of Cam Newton. So those guys are dynamic enough to keep their teams around. They're not going to win it all the time, but they're good enough, which rookies, I give rookies no credit when they're getting on the field opening day. It's hard to learn how to play in this league, but those two guys are doing something. So yeah, it's an interesting division all of a sudden.
He's Pat Kirwan. Moving the chains on NFL radio, weekdays 3 to 7 and Saturdays 2 to 5. And then he's part of CBS's NFL Today show. On Sundays, he joins us Tuesdays and Fridays at 8 o'clock, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Pat, thanks. Be well. Kyle Sielaff, the radio voice of the Miami Marlins, is next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall.
Pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, Logic Man, you wanted Arizona? Oh, Yinzer, we joked, what Mark, what did you say an hour or so ago? Major League Baseball's trying to figure out how to get her to date an MLB player. I mean, that's why, hey, when Verlander started
the Kate Upton thing,
and is it the Pirates? See the top pitching prospect of the Pirates?
Oh yeah, he's dating Olivia Dunn.
Right, the LSU gymnast. I mean,
Paul, that the guy Paul
Skeens.
Skeens.
Skenes. Well, Yinzer, so far, you're totally right. Here's what's impressed me about Houston. They're doing this without their starting offensive tackles. He and they are doing this without Tunzel and the other guy they spent money on. I mean,
hell, Felipe, I didn't know all I needed to do to bring energy to you is bring someone else in the studio. This is awake as you've
bring
been.
Someone else my age, at least. I don't know half the things you guys tell me.
You guys suck. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hell, we talked about Taylor Swift. You didn't want to talk about that. That's
I
right.
hate her. Taylor flipping Swift.
I hate that we even had to talk about that because we had to talk about it, but I hate that. I'm going to call Kyle Sielaff now. Talk about the Marlins.
Sure. Playoff bound. Can Felipe hear me, or is he on the phone?
He's on the phone.
Because yesterday's play of the day was Sielaff's call from Saturday about the Marlins making the playoffs.
I think we're probably too late for that. Felipe, do you have yesterday's play of the day still or no?
I can get it.
How fast?
Maybe a minute.
No, it's to be too late. Don't worry about it.
You wanted me to open with it?
Yep.
Sorry.
Or I could fill, and then you play it before we bring him on.
Let me try.
What?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
We have had a terrific, fun show so far, and it's going to continue to be terrific and be fun with the radio voice of the Miami Marlins, Kyle Sielaff, in just one moment. Couple of things, though. Make sure you vote in our poll question, which is simply, hey, this Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing. Are you over it? Or are you like, no, this is fun. This is cute. So that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, okay, or floridasportsnetwork.com. Also, if you miss any part of the show, go to floridasportsnetwork.com. I mean, we've had David Samson on today, Steve Carney previewing the Rays, Pat Kirwan we just did 2 segments with, and now Kyle Sielaff, the radio voice of the Miami Marlins, who are in the postseason for just the 4th time in their history, only the 3rd time in a full season, and this is how it sounded Saturday night.
3-2 the count to Rodriguez. Scott comes set, and the pitch is swung on and missed. Strike 3. There it is. They've done it. The drought is over. 20 years of waiting has come to an end here in Pittsburgh. It's time to party in Miami. They spill out onto the field here at PNC Park as 25,000 look on here in Pittsburgh tonight. What a scene! What a scene! The Marlins beat the Pirates 7-3. They are postseason bound in 2023.
And Kyle joins us now. I know you have to move forward, just like the Marlins do, because you've got your, first playoff game in less than 12 hours. But when you hear yourself and that now, what do you think?
Good morning, guys. And I don't know what to think. And I know you do have to move on, but I've said this over the course of the last couple of days. There is a small, loyal, and fierce fan base that has passionately followed this team for 30 years. And I just truly do hope that every single fan that has stuck by this organization's side for all of these years, they found some time over the last couple of days to enjoy it as much as those players did on Saturday night. Because, everybody plays a part in this thing, and it extends so far past the field staff and those players that the entire community and the entire Marlins community and every single member of the fan base that has been here for 30 years and now 31 seasons, they deserve to be
very, very proud, and they can brag about it. Man, it was a great night. It was awesome, and I just hope the ride doesn't stop here in Philly. You never know, but every good story, they say, has to start somewhere, right?
No doubt. And Kyle, this is even, before we go forward, because I think you're right. You gotta jump in on this. This was one of the unusual ones. It's one thing for a Braves team to win the division when they're expected to. It's quite another when a team that's not expected to win half its games makes the wild card. This entire ride was unexpected and had to make it that much more special.
No doubt. You're absolutely right. And, it's funny you say that, because I was chatting with Jesus Luzardo, tonight's Game 1 starter, yesterday. And I said this a couple of times on the air, and I said, it just feels like my opinion, but I'd love to know if you could validate it or if I'm totally wrong. They haven't the entire season taken that it's us against the world. Everybody hates us. Nobody's going to pick us. We're just always the underdog mentality. What's funny is that under the direction of Skip Schumacher, it's been quiet confidence. They're just very confident. They prepare. They don't really care what people have to say about them. They don't take the field every night like, with the rah-rah, let's go get them. Nobody's going to give us a chance. They've been confident all season long, even when others probably haven't been. But yes, if you go back to October when Skip was hired as the manager and as a rookie manager, all he's known his whole life is when it gets a little bit on the chilly side in October, that's when that's when baseball is meaningful, and that's when you're in the playoffs. Him and his staff have done an unbelievable job to set a culture down here in Miami that won't just last this year. It'll last for many seasons to come, as long as Skip is in charge in Miami. And he got his players to buy in. They have believed all season long, and they're a good team. They're a good team, and it's why they're one of 12 teams left standing here when it's all said and done.
Kyle Sielaff, the radio voice of the Miami Marlins. You can follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Kyle_Sielaff, SIELAFF. Well, I mean, these teams are familiar with one another. And do you think, Kyle, that helps the Marlins, who have, quote unquote, not been here before, because, well, there's not the intimidation factor? They know the Phillies. Hell, they've beaten the Phillies.
Well, and they've beaten the Phillies more this season than the Phillies have beat them. They won 7 games, and Philadelphia won 6. I think it's a very interesting series in this regard. Remember, going back to 2022, it was the Marlins who helped the Phillies backdoor their way into the playoffs by beating the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee towards the end of the season, and it helped Philadelphia get into the playoffs. So Philadelphia went in under the new format as the 6th seed last season with no expectations, as kind of the little engine that could. Nobody was going to give them a chance, and they beat the Cardinals, they beat the Braves, they beat the Padres, and they found themselves in the World Series. So that's interesting to me, and now I just find that the roles are totally reversed. All of the pressure in South Philadelphia tonight will be square on the shoulders of those Philadelphia Phillies. And there's no two ways about it. The expectations will be greater this time around. It would be a ginormous disappointment if the Marlins rolled in here and took 2 games from them. And I also do think there's that little birdie in the back of the Phillies' head that's saying, man, you know what? Marlins beat us more than we beat them this season. And, oh, by the way, in the 4 combined starts between Jesus Luzardo and Braxton Garrett, the Phillies were 0-4. And, oh, by the way, Zach Wheeler did not beat the Marlins once this season, and Aaron Nola was really bad against them. So we'll see. It's a different ball game. There will be 45,000 folks on their feet and down the Marlins' throat tonight, and needless to say, you'll be hard-pressed to find many cheering for Miami. But it'll be a special night, and it'll be a special next few days regardless of what happens up here.
They won the season series, but they didn't have the better record, obviously. Is there an area that you think the Marlins are better than the Phillies? A clear-cut advantage for the Marlins in this series. Do you see any?
Yep, tonight and tomorrow on the mound. Truthfully. To me, if Jesus Luzardo, who's been unbelievable, comes out and he holds them in check for 4 or 5 innings, that club's going to get tight in a hurry. because they know if they don't score between like the 6th and the 7th, they're in a bind because here comes Andrew Nardi and Tanner Scott in the back end of the bullpen, and you have a ton of great options in the 7th. To me, the clear-cut advantage is the starting pitching these next 2 nights.
I think, by the way, Robertson, who I know is disappointed since coming over from the Mets, I actually think this is where he may pay the dividends. He's pitched in October many times before. He's pitched very effectively in October before. He's still got good stuff. I actually think Robertson could be a 7th-inning difference maker in this series for the Marlins.
I think that's a great thought. And remember, he was with the Phillies last season, and they're running the World Series.
Right.
No, he knows these guys better than they know themselves. Heck, I mean, he watched it. He knows how to get some of these guys out. And if he can execute, he can go out there and he can get 3 outs. He can get a big out. He can come in the jam and get out of it. So I totally agree. He could absolutely be a weapon and a difference maker as well.
And there's really no change in the mindset for the Marlins because they've been playing playoff baseball now for a few weeks. I mean, it's a playoff series and it's a best of 3, but the Marlins have been playing best of 3 series for damn near a month now, haven't they?
Yep, I totally agree with you. If you go back to the beginning of September, they had a stretch of 13 games against the 4 best teams in the National League, and that all, they capped off that 13-game stretch with a 3-game sweep over the Atlanta Braves. They also, took care of the Dodgers. They did struggle against Milwaukee in that series, but they were phenomenal. They were great, and you're absolutely right. They've had pressure on them for about a month now, and they have found a way to execute. They won 17 games in the month of September with all that pressure, knowing that, my goodness, we have an opportunity to do something that not many other teams have done in franchise history. Outside of 97 and 03 in 2020, but for the first time in a full season in 20 years, the Marlins find themselves back in the playoffs. And it's almost eerie how similar the stories are. 97, they sneak in as the wild card. 2003, they sneak in as the wild card. 2023, they sneak in as a wild card. Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, and even in 2020, the Marlins won their first-round playoff series with the Cubs. The Marlins have never been one and done in the playoffs before. I think the reason they've got more than a puncher's chance is, as you mentioned, they have to feel pretty good about matching arm for arm, okay, with Wheeler and Nola, but also the bats that Kim Ng got at the deadline. Okay, the Phillies lineup is deeper and more dangerous, but at least, Kyle, this Marlins lineup in a ballpark in which you can hit it out of the park. Well, the Marlins now have 4 guys that I think they feel pretty confident can hit the ball out of the park.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt, especially when you look at those acquisitions at the deadline with Berger and Bell, and then you put Soler and Chisholm and Sanchez and De La Cruz into the mix. Marlins will be able to hit the baseball just as far as these Phillies. And Luis Ariz is coming back, and he's going to be a massive X factor for the ball club in this series. We'll see about his movement and his ability to play second, but he is said to be feeling healthy enough, and he will be in the Game 1 starting lineup for Miami, and he will be there right at the top of the order, and Jorge Soler will be right behind him, and we're not too far removed. If you go back to 2021, and Jorge Soler was the MVP in the World Series for the Atlanta Braves. So, there's some guys here. They know what it's like to play in the postseason. Josh Bell knows. Luis Ariz knows. Jorge Soler knows. Man, I'm excited. I am so darn excited to watch what happens here in Philadelphia tonight.
Well, and Kyle, you're an excited broadcaster. I can only imagine what tonight and tomorrow and Thursday and hopefully next week is for you. You got to be having the time of your life.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I'm just so happy for the fans. Honestly, guys, I know I say it, but this is my 11th season with the ball club, and I've seen lean years, and I know what it's like to not have a chance in July and August, and you're playing out the string, and can they just get us the football season and then we can forget about them? Well, nobody's forgetting about them this season, and gosh, I just think about all those people that have stuck by the team for so many years, and I'm very, very proud to be a member of the organization, humbled to get the opportunity, and I think there's a part of me that is so excited. And I say this all the time: they are the best group of guys you would ever meet in your life in the clubhouse. There's not a single guy, and I mean this because I would not lie to you if I did not feel this way, that I do not root for. There's not one bad egg in that clubhouse. And they are just so great that I just don't want it to end for those guys because they put so much into it and they deserve everything that they have coming their way.
Kyle Sielaff, the radio voice of the Miami Marlins. You can follow him on Twix, Twitter, and X at Kyle_Sielaff, Sielaff. Kyle, thanks for being so generous with your time all season long, but particularly today before the biggest broadcast of your life tonight. Hit it out of the park, Kyle, and we'll hopefully talk again soon.
Thank you, guys. Hopefully we can do this again soon.
Kyle Sielaff, kind enough to join us. Marlins, Phillies, 8 o'clock tonight. Rays hosting the Rangers, 3 o'clock this afternoon. The ABC, ESPN, Disney family of networks is where you can exclusively watch the Wild Card series, all 4 of them.
ABC and baseball. You're going to have to repeat that just for me a few more times today, David, because I am having a difficult time with that. Fun little stat for you. The Marlins, when they out-hit their opponent, 64-20. So Arise coming back, guy that gets on base a lot, gets a lot of base hits, seems to be a key for them.
I did not realize what a pitching advantage the Marlins had on paper because, Wheeler and Nola is the Phillies' big two. So neither one, Wheeler or Nola, beat the Marlins this year. And yet the Marlins game 1 and 2 starters are combined 4-0 against the Phillies. Wow. And remember, David Samson, much earlier on the show, said tonight's the game. If the Marlins with Luzardo get tonight. So how about that? Rays Rangers at 3, Marlins Phillies at 8 o'clock, ABC for the Rays, ESPN for the Phillies.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I know I don't think you're on Twitter while you're doing the games, David, but our former producer last night on the Pick Six, something along the lines of, I hate this football team. I mean, he was just despondent. I was laughing so hard.
Golly. He takes this so hard.
He really does. What game do you have Saturday?
Alabama A&M.
Okay.
It's a hell of an SEC weekend. I mean,
it really is. The Missouri LSU game's a good game, and Kentucky's going to give Georgia every damn thing they want.
Yep. I mean, you can't blame us for taking Bama A&M. We're in the ratings game, but battle of unbeaten's in between the hedges. Or as Lynn Swan once said, in between the bushes. Get Vern going when you mention that. Okay. God, Vern tells a hell of a story about it. Which then leads him into 3 other stories about games he did at Georgia and things that happened. I can't believe I'd ever say this, but you got to almost wonder, Mike Trout hasn't been able to stay healthy for 2+ years.
4 years. Or
2-3 years here.
3 years.
Basically, post-pandemic, Mike Trout has been unable to stay healthy. Excuse me. I mean, he's, $40 million a year. He's in his early 30s now. I mean, you sure you want to give up what you're going to have to give up?
Right.
And then, the contract is the contract.
The contract's the contract. You're going to have to give up the king's ransom to get him, and you don't know if he can stay healthy. Okay.
You don't know. I mean, basically, are you the Angels acquiring Albert Pujols? You know what I mean? Who had 1 or 2 outstanding years still, and then, woof. Just saying.
So this new spot is only airing on this hour?
No, it should be airing throughout.
Okay, gotcha.
It just, they got a special coming up this week.
Yeah, it's an October ad, yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to do it, but I almost want to text Kyle that I speak for all Marlins fans to say that we love you and you've done an amazing job this year.
Should have just told him that.
I know, but he hung up.
Well, then text him.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour edition of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. The Diamond District, they got a big thing going on this weekend, right, Mark?
They're another big sale, another opportunity for you to save lots of money, get the best diamonds that there are in the area from the best people, the best staff, the Diamond District.
And also the Todd and Jason, all their teams are winning until the Dolphins on Sunday. But, you know, just between the Canes and Ohio State and what have you. So, I mean, honestly, they're in a good mood, okay? And I'm telling you can take advantage of them.
I think the Dolphin fan has spun this so quickly. Well, after that big win, needed to be humbled. Week 4 was the opportunity. We'll learn a lot about this team. This was okay. I have already seen the spin machine in full force defending the Dolphin loss.
I think it helps also, Mark, that 24 hours later they realized, oh, well, hell, we're playing the Giants this week and they suck. So, and our defense will be able to feel good about itself after getting done with the Giants. So this will be great. I do want to mention we have a poll question because the shape up continues on Miller and Moulton. Week 3 of the shape up. And when Miller and Moulton need to shape up, we need to get our act together. No, we continue to consume carbs at the same alarming rate, but we get poll questions out and we get them out early in the show. And this one's a fairly popular one. Have you had enough of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? And 56% of you say no, which I will say there's a few more yes votes every hour. We were in the mid-60s at the start of the show, then the low 60s. Now, the Felipes of the world who are done with them, haters, they're appearing, more and more of them. 56-44. No, this is still fun. This is cute. But the margin's getting smaller. We haven't even gotten to, the Broward and Dade County results coming in yet. We haven't even gotten there.
But the question's been fairly popular because it involves Taylor Swift.
Correct.
So no matter how you slice it, the poll question wins the day because it's receiving a lot of votes.
I wonder what having Taylor Swift on our show would do for our show. Maybe we'd be on ESPN. We'll be right next to Pat McAfee.
Well, if she said something interesting.
Right. We need a good soundbite.
Right. And we send it out, and then the ESPN talking head shows would take the clip. And they would, have to courtesy us and what have you. I mean, Felipe, I know you don't believe us, but we did have LeBron James on the show.
That blows my mind.
I figured it would. Now, how long ago it was, he had yet to take his talents to South Beach. Okay, it was original run with the Cavs. Late in his first run with the Cavs, we had LeBron on.
He was doing some horse competition against a fan.
Yep. And they sent out
with some company for it, and we were able to get the PR people from the company to get us LeBron.
And it was hysterical because we're doing a show and we're in the afternoons then, and we're doing 4 hours. And our producer at the time, John, we're heading into like our last commercial break. And he says, I was hesitating saying this, but I think I just booked LeBron James on our show. We're like, well, why would you hesitate? And he goes, well, because I can't believe it. But we're recording an interview with him in 20 minutes. And so literally we finished our show, hung around, and we're looking at the phone for it to ring in the same studio you're sitting in now, Felipe. And we're like, come on, it's not going to ring. And sure enough, when all of a sudden it lit up and started ringing, we all just kind of looked at us and went, holy blank, we're going to have LeBron James on the show.
Because we've had our fair share of Hall of Famers and big-time athletes, but most of the Hall of Famers, from a basketball standpoint, probably the next biggest star would be Magic that we had. But Magic was done playing. Magic was in town doing an event.
Right, this was 25-year-old LeBron James.
Yeah.
He had taken Cleveland to the finals already. And so I don't know if this is 09 when they're going to lose to the Magic in the conference finals, or if it was his last year in Cleveland, the first go around. But yeah, that's when we had him. So, that was our Steve Carney, who was on earlier on the show, meeting a teenage Taylor Swift, because she came to Tampa and she had a connection, her music label, with this country station in Tampa. And so she was making the rounds. And so Steve Carney met teenager Taylor Swift. And for the record, he said she was not a star. She was, salt of the earth and, easy to root for. And LeBron was cool with us, Felipe. I mean, you would have passed out. I mean, I honestly, I don't know if we would have got him on the air if you were producing our show at the time, because you would have made such a fool of yourself over the phone talking to LeBron. I think LeBron would have looked at his people and said, yeah, we can hang up on these guys.
That's where it's good in those situations that Felipe wouldn't have been able really to talk to LeBron. Felipe would have been talking to the PR people, and then we would have gotten LeBron, because if you would have had the opportunity to speak to him, I'm with David. The interview would have never got on the air. He'd have hung up on you.
LeBron, how many championships do you think you would have won if you would have just stayed in Miami?
Well, remember, he's not in Miami yet.
He wasn't even in Miami.
Well, that's what I would ask him if he was on the show right now. But at the time, I'd be like, LeBron, why isn't Cleveland helping you?
They were trying. And no one wanted to go to Cleveland.
Exactly.
He had to leave.
Yep. Best he could do was Mo Williams. He had to go to Miami. And then people said, oh, okay, if I go play for you, I really will win championships. Where are you going next? Cleveland? Damn, you better get me paid, dude. I'll get you paid.
Still to this day, people blame him. Interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas people like to compare it to Kevin Durant, where he had Russell Westbrook. Right.
So there you go. That's our Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce poll question. Then a little sidebar there about, the biggest person we've ever had. And you're right, Mark. I mean, I had Jim right before you and I joined forces, I was able to get Jim Brown on the show. Okay. We had Magic. We've had LeBron. Okay. I mean, we're doing all right.
Been a few others here and there.
Yeah. Yeah. Got a few Hall of Famers, but a good fun show today. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com, and whether it was David Samson, Steve Carney, Pat Kirwan, or Kyle Sielaff, okay, we've had a lot of fun today.
Baseball playoffs get started this afternoon.
Yes! And I love the best of three wild card round. I do. See, I'm old enough to remember when the first round of the NHL playoffs, and Mark, I think you're old enough to remember when the first round of the NBA playoffs even was a best of three.
Absolutely. And I love that it's 3 straight days. I love that it's in one city. I like the setup of how the wild card round is run. And come on, it's afternoon baseball, so I'm fired up.
Even I have memories of coming home from school and watching playoff baseball. It's a great time of the year.
And Felipe, remember, we didn't have all the cable channels. You didn't see every game. And so playoff baseball, you could see. And that made it even more exciting. And yes, oh my goodness. I remember, got to a certain age, I wouldn't take the bus anymore. But if it was playoff baseball and the bus could get me home a few minutes sooner, I'd take the bus home that day. Absolutely. What are you doing on the bus? Oh, I got to get home, man. Playoffs are on.
And I remember I walked. I mean, I was one of those. I lived close enough to walk to school. I remember literally running home because you knew the game had already started around 2 o'clock or whenever they started in the afternoon. And I got to school at 3, and it was right for the reasons you say, because baseball wasn't on. You got a game or two a week tops. You got Monday Night Baseball and you got a weekend game. So the fact that baseball was on every day and our country was in a different spot, we thought a lot more highly of baseball then than we do now. It was must see. So just the fact that we get some afternoon baseball and the fact that both Florida teams are playing, great stuff. Rays, 3 o'clock. Marlins are in the big series, the ESPN featured series against the Phillies tonight on ESPN.
Boy, is Major League Baseball rooting for the Phillies. Now, I mean, they've got the Braves and the Dodgers, but if they can get the Phillies to play the Braves, then they know whether it's Atlanta or Philly moving on, as long as they can move on and play the Dodgers, they're like, okay, National League's taken care of, and we're going to get a big boy in the World Series. But boy, if the Marlins can beat the Phillies, Major League Baseball is like, really? Really? I mean, we already got the Rays and the Orioles and the Blue Jays and the Twins on the other side. Are you serious? Now we got the Marlins advancing? This great regular season that we've had. By the way, the attendance numbers that they released yesterday is, double-digit increase in attendance. Time of game, the fastest since 1985.
Think about that just for a second. Since 1985.
85. The Reagan administration. Pre-Fox News, pre-MSNBC, by a decade, by the way, for both. Pre-Fox Sports. In fact, it might be pre-Fox Network. I'm trying to think, did we have 21 Jump Street and those shows? Were they on in 85? I mean, that network had to be in its infancy in 85.
Pre-ESPN 2.
Pre the Marlins existing.
Pre-Marlins. Pre-Rays. Yes. I'm impressed the Rays are on ABC. I mean, I was joking around with the ESPN people last night. I'm like, did you guys make a mistake? Did you lose a bet? What's going on here? They're like, what do you mean? You guys are putting the Rays on ABC. I go, are you aware of that? And they're like, well, what do you want us to do? Put Toronto, Minnesota? I'm like, well, not necessarily, but just asking. What do you want us to do? Put Arizona, Milwaukee? Okay, don't have to take it personally.
Apparently they did, because you took it personally with them.
I didn't take it personally. I just tried to have a little
sarcasm.
sarcasm.
Asked them if they lost a bet.
I did.
It's programming for Major League Baseball playoffs, and you asking ESPN brass if they made a mistake, and you think they just going to take that.
Well, and not only that, they don't get questioned very often. Never mind with people like me that far down the depth chart.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd invite you to join them Saturday, October 7th and Sunday the 8th as Veraccio, one of America's top bridal designers, joins the Diamond District with their entire collection of stunning engagement and wedding rings. Veraccio has always been on the forefront of design, and during this event, they'll unveil their newest and much anticipated exclusive designer fashion jewelry collection. Jason and Todd are excited to meet you personally Saturday the 7th and Sunday the 8th. And with your purchase of any Veraccio jewelry priced at $2,500 or more, you'll receive a free pair of 1-carat total diamond weight stud earrings valued at $1,500. Jason and Todd are also offering 12 months interest-free financing. This event kicks off the fall season at the Diamond District in a big way. With your Veraccio purchase of $2,500 or more, you'll receive free 1-carat total diamond weight stud earrings. Jason and Todd look forward to meeting you and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's really funny, Coach Grizzle. Trent, how long did it take you to get here this morning?
Half hour. Just a half hour.
That's not terrible.
It's easy, too. No one on the road.
Yeah, there's no one on that's for sure. But Cape Coral to me is like a foreign country. I've lived here for 25 years. I don't know if I've been in Cape Coral 25 times.
Well, I didn't realize that they don't have there's no beaches there. It's just like.
No, there's a great book that it's about it was one of those communities that they were selling up north, buying a lot of land in Florida in a swamp. And it's the community that never should have happened.
Every lot is the same exact size. Cutter.
Yeah, and straight canals. There's canals everywhere.
But not all of them go to the water.
Right.
Some of them are just freshwater
Yeah,
canals.
and it's just cesspools of acid and other algae that just collects.
Acid and other algae.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, red tide, like.
Yeah, when I realized AD just signed that contract and he's making $62 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
Future of the Lakers.
If so, I don't like their future.
Right.
Hey, he said he plans on playing all 82 this year.
Right.
Right.
At least Kawhi just basically said, I don't care what rules you put in. I'm going to play however many games I want to play.
Right.
Honestly, what is that guy's issue?
He's won NBA titles with 2 franchises, and he's made a couple $100 million.
How about this? Play basketball games.
Why? He gets paid whether he plays or not. That's basically what he just said.
Why? Play basketball games. Why?
I get paid whether I play or not. That's the problem.
That's really the mindset we have these days.
Well, not we. Not we. The NBA. You don't see this going on in the other sports.
Ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
It's not like he's bad either. When he's playing, they're better.
No, he's a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
Oh. But
75. NBA 75.
one person we could interview that you haven't already.
Tiger Woods.
Belichick.
Travis Kelce.
Coach Grizzle's the producer of another radio show, Chad, and they're wanting me to get Troy Aikman on their show.
Barely comes on ours.
I was going to say, he's been on our show like 3 times.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. You know, we have to make our picks on the baseball playoffs, at least the wild card round. We've been at Twitch chat room anyway.
Making our picks, huh? Because apparently that's the most important thing in a wild card round. People have been dying to know what Miller and Moulton think about these 4 baseball series.
Someone's got to be right.
That's if we just go opposites.
I mean, I'll tell you what, Marlins are advancing. That's my pick.
I knew that would be your pick. I do think the fact that they beat Philadelphia 7 out of 13 times, that they've gone to Philadelphia and won 2 of 3 twice, I think, and that everybody seems to think the pitching edge is on the Marlins side. All good things. I'm curious how the Marlins will fare in front of 45,000 hostile fans. I do think that I know it's a different sport, but we just put the best in the world over in Europe to play golf in the Ryder Cup, and they choked like hairy dogs in front of a road crowd. I mean, choked like big hairy dogs.
You're really not going to get over that.
No, I'm just, that's a fact. They choked.
No, it is. It's true. It's true.
So will the Marlins bats? To me, that's the whole thing. I'm not worried about the Marlins pitching. I think the Marlins pitching will be fine. Can the Marlins bats produce against Philadelphia in big spots? They've been playing them in the month of September, which I think is huge for them. And I know the world's clamoring for our picks on this, David. But my big thing is, will the Marlins bats be there in this series?
I agree. And I think they'll win a game. I think they'll force a game 3. I think the Phillies win. I'm only calling for one quote-unquote upset. I think Toronto's a slight favorite over the Twins. I think the Twins finally win a playoff series. They haven't won one in 21 years. I think the Twins win a playoff series. Blue Jays kind of backed in at the end. Okay, they really did. I mean, they had everything to play for against the Rays, and the Rays won that series, final weekend of the year. So Toronto actually, I mean, they didn't win 90 games. I think Toronto only won 2 games more than the Twins. Now, I will say, Toronto's record against everybody not named the Yankees, the Rays, and the Orioles is really good. So that's why they're favored to win, but I'm going to play a hunch. Twins are due.
Look, if you want the I could pull these out of a hat and it wouldn't be much different. But I do think the Rays are going to win the series. The Jays and the Twins, I have no earthly idea. I think the Blue Jays bats are just going to be better in this series, and I'll take the Jays. I picked the only thing I know I got right, and I don't know where my baseball picks are. I know I picked the Brewers to win the division because you and I, of course, were between who? The Brewers and the Cardinals to win that division.
Right. And I'm sticking with my World Series. Braves beating the Rays. I am. And I'm not just doing it to stick with what I said 6 months ago. I like the Rays against the Orioles in a playoff series. I do. I actually think they're better equipped for the play. I do think the injury to the Orioles closer is a big deal. I also, and maybe not, the Rays' first time in the playoffs, they made it all the way to the World Series. Marlins' first time in the playoffs, they won the World Series, although that was a veteran team. So, the Orioles might just be, naive enough to just keep playing the way they were playing. But I don't know. I actually like the Rays head-to-head against the Orioles in the playoffs. Yeah,
I'll take the Jays as a road team, and I'll take the 3 home teams. The Brewers, the Phillies, the Rays, and the Jays are my 4 picks for the first round here, the wild card round of the MLB playoffs.
Now, remember last year in the National League, both road teams won the wild card series. Padres beat the Mets in a 4-5 matchup, and the 6-seeded Phillies beat the 3rd-seeded Cardinals. In the American League, I have to admit I'm having trouble remembering what the playoff series were, to be honest. But I think Seattle beat Toronto. I think that was another road series win.
And Cleveland beat the Rays.
And Cleveland was home.
Right.
So I think we only had one home team, if you will, in the wild card round win. And we had 3 road teams win. So, and I'm picking all 4 home teams to advance because I'm picking the Twins.
3:00 today, it gets started on ABC. I feel as if I have to remind people of that every chance I get. I know, for those of us now, see, I can say I'm one of them. For us cord cutters, David, it just pops on and it's going to say the baseball game's on.
By the way, these are the days. Tuesday, Wednesday. Come on now. These are baseball.
That's right. These are baseball's best days. And it's Bears Commanders on Thursday. So they even have a fighting chance to get a little bit of, I don't know, a few eyeballs on Thursday, maybe?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Honestly, if you're watching Bears Commanders over the MLB wild card, I think you might have issues.
Then you're a Bears or Commanders fan.
Right. That would be it.
You see, and it's funny. Now, granted, I'm a goober. I've got issues. I do. But the Bears, to me now, are such a train wreck that they're more interesting to me than if they were 2-2. Because also the whole Justin Fields thing to me is fascinating. I mean, it's only the future of a franchise. That's all. And what if they start winning? Like right now, they're in line to get the 1st and 2nd picks of the draft. I mean, they're getting dangerously close to the point where Bears fan just goes, oh, hell, let's just lose them. Let's just go. Let's just keep losing. And they've got Carolina's 1st-round pick, right?
I mean, they got 2 opportunities to screw up a quarterback in the future.
Exactly.
That is what the Bears have in front of them.
But Carolina is also the other winless team. So if you're a Bears fan, I mean, how close are you to just say, hell, let's just keep losing. You keep losing, we'll keep losing. Come on now.
Caleb action.
Think of it. They can get Caleb Williams and they could draft Marvin Harrison's kid. Come on now. Come on now. I know you're a mess of an organization, what have you. Pick the team. You're an absolute mess. If all of a sudden you get what they think is a generational talent at quarterback and a kid who's better than his Hall of Fame wide receiving father.
They may need it because Chicago sports, I was having this conversation with my son. And I said, is Chicago in a worse spot than Detroit sports right now? Because it might be. I mean, the Bears are an absolute mess. The White Sox are a mess.
Yep, Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks, even though they have Connor Bedard, so there's hope for the future, but they're not going to be good this year.
Or next.
And the Bears.
Right. And the Bulls. They were getting good until Ball got hurt, to be honest with you. They turned the corner, but now they're behind the 8 ball again. So, yeah, you're right, Mark. It's a sports city that's desperate for, if we can't get winning, can we get some hope?
Also, I hate the 1st and 2nd. The Cubs blew it. They blew their chances.
They did. There's no question. And really, the Atlanta Braves determined the difference between the Cubs and the Marlins. The Marlins swept the Braves. The Braves had clinched the playoffs. They clinched the division. They went to Miami, and they partied. And they admitted that they did. We partied. We didn't take the Marlins series seriously. And the Marlins swept them. And then they basically said, hey, come on now. We got to get it together. Okay, finish strong because we're going to have 5 days off before the playoffs. Let's start getting back in the groove. They went home and did what? Swept the Cubs. So the Marlins are like, that's perfect, guys. That's exactly what we wanted you to do. Be hammered for us and then hammer the Cubs. Way to go.
Little South Beach flu followed up by a little redemption tour, and everything worked out just fine for the Miami Marlins that are now in the postseason. Taking on the Phillies. 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN. The Rays in the 3 o'clock game taking on the Texas Rangers. That one on ABC. I'm doing that merely for myself, David, for nobody else. I still can't get over the fact that game's on ABC. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when and what's on tap. It's how we finish things out every day right here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Just want to remind everyone that the Bears have not won a football game since Elon Musk has bought Twitter.
And I was at the game, was in New England.
Yep.
Also, they have not won a game since they acquired Claypool.
I was single. It's the last time they won a game.
Because I believe they acquired him after the Patriots game. I could be wrong, but I thought it was.
Yeah, that is correct. Yes. Yeah. Should have kept that pick.
Oh, no doubt. That's not looking good.
Did you get to walk around the city or no?
I went to lunch. I met Seth for lunch in Hoboken. We went to a Cuban restaurant, sat outside. It was glorious. And then I came back. I'm 2 blocks from Ground Zero. So I walked over to it yesterday.
Nice.
Spent about 45 minutes.
Where are you flying out of?
Newark. Not direct, long story. So American through Charlotte. I get back at 6:30. I don't think I've ever been to a Tim Hortons. No,
I know I haven't. They weren't in the States when I was in states that now have them.
Is that a Canadian thing?
Yes.
See, he knew it.
Logic Man, that's a great question. I looked right at the person responsible, and she said, so how's it going? I said, great, except that we're in Lower Manhattan. She looked at me. I go, the game's in Jersey, right? She goes, well, it's a nice hotel. I go, yeah, they got them in Hoboken. 15 minutes from the game. And she goes, oh, come on. We're 15 minutes from Hoboken. I go, during the day. I said, you're not from here, are you? I go, I'm going to give you a quick piece of advice. And I know you think I'm a piece of crap, but I grew up here. You never, ever book something where you have to go through a tunnel or over a bridge if you don't have to. Ever. I go, because that's how your worst nightmare can happen. I mean, we left before 4 o'clock yesterday to go to an 8:15 game because we were terrified. Joe and Troy were in the car at 3:55 to go to the game. I mean, literally 4:45 we're in the parking lot. But, I've sat in the tunnel for an hour and not moved. So, I mean, you can't take the risk.
And there's no rhyme or reason to it, right? I mean,
if there's an accident in the tunnel, it's put the car in park.
Hey, that'll be a $20 toll fee. Thank you very much.
Oh, hell.
It's funny. You're paying $20 to wait an hour.
Well, the tunnels are free. Well, the Holland is.
Oh.
The Holland Tunnel, it doesn't cost you anything to go through. Now, the GW Bridge, Lincoln costs you money. On the Jersey side, you got to pay. Holland's free.
I got to say, Kirk Cousins was moving trying to make that tackle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Joe and Troy like to get there 3 hours before kickoff. But they have stuff they have to do, though, and also go on the field and talk to some people and what have you. And, but ideally, we wouldn't get to the game till about 2 hours before kickoff. We'd go eat, and 90 minutes before kickoff, they give inactives.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the hour is up, 16 minutes until our time is up. The Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton, exclusively for the 239. We do this for you. Trust us when we say we are not doing it for us.
In your corner, working for you now.
Well done, Mark. Well done. Some old Southwest Florida news station slogans.
All combined into one.
That's right. So, what do you say? Good, bad, and ugly? What's on tap today was day one. You were gone yesterday, so I didn't know if you remembered how it is we end the show.
You know what? I didn't until halftime of the Monday night game when I said, oh, crap, I got to do that today. It was a day one thing again.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1863 we start. President Lincoln designates the last Thursday in November as Thanksgiving Day.
Huh.
There you go. Bloomingdale's opened in New York today in 1872. Announcing their Thanksgiving sale. U.S. federal income tax was signed into law today by President Woodrow Wilson in 1913 at a whopping 1%.
It's a little higher now.
Just a touch. Today in 1920, the American Pro Football Association, which would later become the NFL, plays its first round of games. The Dayton Triangles beat the Columbus Panhandles 14-0 in the first official game. Today in 1945, Elvis's first public appearance at the age of 10 in a youth talent contest at the Mississippi-Alabama Fair in Tupelo, Mississippi. He won fifth prize, $5 in fair ride tickets.
Wow, I have to
That's
admit,
a pretty good day.
For a fifth place prize
in 45.
That's tremendous.
Can't imagine a ride cost you more than a dime then. I mean, you were riding the merry-go-round over and over.
That's more than most Christmas bonuses you and I have ever received.
Combined.
Hey, we're not lying, folks. That's a true statement. That's not just a joke. That's not a line. That's the
So
truth.
depressing. Today in 51, the shot heard around the world, Bobby Thompson's 3-run homer.
By the way, we found out like 40 years later they were cheating. They were pulling an Astros. They just didn't have the drums. Okay, they were monitoring from out in center field that he knew what pitch was coming. When Bobby Thompson told Ralph Branca that, Ralph got honked off.
Today in 53 at the Ryder Cup, apparently Sam Snead played in every match. He wins 6 of his 7 matches to lead the U.S. to their 6th consecutive Ryder Cup win.
Well, he was pretty good.
Captain Kangaroo premiered on this day in 1955. The Andy Griffith Show premiered on this day in 1960. And the Dick Van Dyke Show premiered today in 1961. I mean, pretty good little kid show and 2 all-timers in the Andy Griffith Show and the Dick Van Dyke Show.
No doubt about it.
Today in 1970, David, I don't know if you know this one, but it was the first ever umpire strike. It lasts 1 day during the LCS. The American League and National League presidents recognized the newly formed Major League Baseball Umpires Association to negotiate a labor contract.
I just remember back in the day that American League umpires had the big outward chest protectors. Okay. And the National League umpires had the like catcher's thing underneath their shirt. And so because of it, the umpires all bent differently. Like National League umpires got lower. And so in the National League, you got the low strike. In the American League, you got the high strike. Strange. And once again, one league had the DH and the other league didn't.
But it was today that the league presidents recognized the Umpires Association and that unions had unbelievable control, more than any other referees union in any other sport, and it's not close. Today in 1971, Billie Jean King becomes the first female athlete to win $100,000 in prize money in a single year. Today in 72, Steve Carlton wins his 27th game of the season as the Phillies beat the Cubs 11-1. The Phillies only won 59 games that year.
Right. And he
Steve
won
Carlton won
27
of them.
Yep.
Today in 74, Jerry West announces retirement, and Frank Robinson becomes the first African-American manager when he signs as player manager for the Cleveland Indians.
I loved through the 70s and even early, Pete Rose ended his career as player manager with the Reds. And I think, Mark, isn't he the last player manager? Do you remember? 86 was the last time Rose, he took himself out of the lineup, didn't take himself off the active roster. All of a sudden, he just stopped playing himself in like May or June of 86. Do you remember a player manager since?
I don't.
I don't need. Joe Torre was player manager for the Mets in the late 70s to finish out his final year of baseball, and then he just retired and became a manager. Frank was player manager for a while with the Indians before he was just manager. Man, I'd love player manager. Could you imagine that today? It was not a big deal when they did it 40, 50 years ago. Could you imagine the reaction today? Aaron Judge, player manager of the Yankees.
I mean, none of the player managers even compared, though, to Reg Dunlop from the Charleston Chiefs, but that's a whole different story.
Of course not.
Today in 76, Hank Aaron singles in his last at-bat and drives in his 2,297th run as the Brewers would lose to the Tigers. Today in 81, the Brewers and Expos clinched their first ever postseason appearances as the Brewers beat the Tigers and the Expos beat the Mets
strike season, so they each won the second half titles in the AL East and NL East. Brewers would lose to the Yankees. Expos would beat the world champion Phillies before losing to the Dodgers in the Rick Monday famous walk-off, well, not walk-off, but ninth inning home run.
Today in 89, the Raiders promote Art Shell to be head coach, the first African-American taking over from Mike Shanahan. Sinead O'Connor ripped up a picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live today in 1992. That was actually a big deal.
Very much so.
Kind of ended her career.
Yes. Yeah, the late Sinead O'Connor.
In 95, OJ was found not guilty.
Pretty sure it was a Monday.
McGuire hits number 65. Souza hits number 63 as they finish against one another today in 99. Today in 2004, Ichiro gets 2 singles to finish the season with 262 hits.
That's just ridiculous. You have a hit a game and it's not hit and a half a game and it's not enough.
Cabrera won the Triple Crown today in 2012. And Tom Brady passed Drew Brees as the NFL's all-time career passing leader in yardage today in 2021. Stevie Ray Vaughan born today. Chubby Checkers 82. David Winfield 72. Freddie Couples is 64. Tommy Lee is 62. Gwen Stefani 54. Nev Campbell 51. Danny Willett is 36. And the great guitarist Billy Strings is 34 years old today. What did I miss, David?
On this day in 1990, East and West Germany officially reunite. It's known as Unity Day over in Germany.
And I don't remember the comedian that said it, but didn't we see these two together before? It didn't work out very well the last time.
No, it's worked out a little better so far this time. It has. So far. Also, Amanda Knox had her murder conviction overturned today, 12 years ago. The American who was wrongfully convicted and imprisoned for a murder that she and her boyfriend did not commit.
Did you wish ASAP Rocky a happy birthday?
I did not.
It's 35 years old today. Is ASAP Rocky the father of Rihanna's child?
Oh, okay.
And very famous rapper, I should say.
Well, he just...
You think so?
Not on Riri's level, of course not, but you know.
Well, I mean,
very famous?
Very famous and very much worthy of Rihanna.
Are we sure about that?
Yes. Yes. Ask Riri's fandom. They will agree.
Okay.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to a West Virginia Starbucks where Karen Collinsworth, 65 years old, works there, and her car got vandalized, and they felt bad for her. So the other workers came up with the idea to raise some money for her. They ended up raising $40,000 for her to get a new car. Good for them. For the bad, we go to Bonita Springs, where road rage, David, happened again. One car upset at another car, decided to pull their called 911. Finally, the ugly. We go to McDonald's in Miami.
What?
Which one?
Wait.
McDonald's.
A McDonald's for the ugly?
Miami Springs.
Oh, okay.
Man who is a routine customer of the McDonald's in Miami Springs became upset about his breakfast order. He orders a sausage McMuffin with a round egg separately and a senior coffee. Apparently, it didn't equal out to what it was supposed to because the 64-year-old was so upset with the amount he was being charged, which was a few cents more than he's normally charged. When he was handed the coffee, he slapped the coffee back at the McDonald's employee.
Oh, come on. That's not necessary, sir.
The victim suffered burn injuries, and the 64-year-old was arrested and booked into jail on a felony battery charge. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, October the 3rd, 2023.
How'd you end up here? I slapped the coffee out of McDonald's employee's hands.
Do you think he was one of those customers who brought exact change? You know, like he brought the $3.61 and it turned out to be $3.64, and he's like, I don't have enough.
Where's the take a penny, leave a penny when you need it?
Well, and also, sir, you're here every day. Don't worry about it. We got you.
I was so proud. I stopped at a convenience store to pick up something, and my order came to, it was $2.01. And I had, I paid in cash. I mean, shocked everybody. Right. And I handed the gal a 20, and she just reached over to the take a penny thing, and I thought for sure I was getting 99 cents back. Wanted to just reach across and give her a hug. Confusing them with cash on a daily basis.
No doubt about it.
Mark, I have cash on me right now. Are you proud of me?
Did you just get paid?
No. See, the girlfriend is a server, so she's basically a cash dispenser,
So let me ask you a question. On a daily basis, who's carrying more cash on them, you or the girlfriend?
The girlfriend. Always.
Is that not a little embarrassing to you?
No! It's 2023. Cash is Venmo. That's cash these days, Mark.
There are at least two generations listening right now going, I don't understand. I just don't understand.
We got baseball on tonight. Let's talk baseball.
And you know what baseball fans have in their pocket?
Cash.
Because they're old.
You're damn right.
Yes. We're proud of it.
Wait, did I just call myself old?
In a money clip, too. Not in a wallet, in a money clip. That's how it's supposed to work.
And if you can't have a money clip, get a rubber band. Yeah.
Unless a wallet the size of Texas like Moulton.
Yeah. Man, my back hurts.
3 o'clock, the Rays. 8 o'clock, the Marlins. Enjoy playoff baseball. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. right here. Where else but the Florida Sports Network?
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples